Go Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Finally, probably 30 years after it should have happened, Willie O'Ree is going to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame and just going in as a building category, and I think that's amazing. So we wanted to start the show with that tonight because I feel like it's important that we put this out there. I also find it odd that in the year that Gary Bettman also goes in as a builder,
Adam,
that I find it odd that he wouldn't just say, I am the commissioner. I appreciate the fact that you want me to go in as well. Maybe we can wait till next year and make it 3 builders and just make this year about Willie O'Ree and Willie O'Ree alone.
It's not his decision, though. It's the Hall of Fame people who make the vote.
But he can always say, like, hey, can we wait? Can we hold off on this?
No, but like, there's nothing, because it just happened. Like, he doesn't know this is coming. It's a separate entity.
He doesn't know it?
No, it's a separate entity that's voting on it, and they're doing it. And when everybody finds out, he finds out.
Well, then the Hall of Fame should have been like, we should make this Willie O'Ree's year in the builder category, and we'll leave Gary for next year. Don't you?
Or I actually do like that idea of just having
Should just be Willie.
one this year, but Bettman? Yeah, now?
I mean, I get why Gary Bettman's in the Hall, or should be in the Hall of Fame. I get it.
Yeah.
Undeniable.
Wyshynski was doing his best Skip Bayless impression, arguing with himself, because he was like, he absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame, and then some people were just gushing over Bettman, and he's like, all right, hold on. So, he's absolutely a Hall of Famer, but he's not perfect.
No.
I just now, while he's still at the helm, like that was a little strange.
Now it's odd. Yeah.
Is there something we don't know there? I don't know, because like my whole thing with the outrage with Pat Burns was, for crying out loud, he should be, when he gets in, he should be there to see it. And they had an opportunity to do that.
And they didn't do it.
Willie O'Ree, to my understanding, is in perfect health, but he's also 82. And
you're walking on a knife's edge at that point, right?
You're late as it is. Get it over with. Do it.
Yeah.
You know it's going to happen. Do it. Bettman, while he's still commissioner, is very strange.
Well, I mean, and the thing is that the work is incomplete, and I feel like, there's plenty of, like, my mom got inducted into a Hall of Fame 2 years ago, last year, and she's still working. So
still making music.
I mean, I think it's not unheard of that things happen. Yeah, she's still making all those songs, but it is a bit. I just found it to be like Willie O'Ree did something that forever changed the game. Like forever. Gary Bettman has helped it make more money and has expanded it, and I respect all of the business decisions Gary Bettman, maybe not all of them. I respect that Gary.
Wish you there. Hold on.
I respect that Gary Bettman made some very important financial decisions. The league is very healthy. No question that there have been some real positives that have come out of Gary Bettman's time as a commissioner, and some negatives too. That's going to happen with any commissioner. What I don't understand is why Willie O'Ree can't just be the only one.
Do you have to have a certain amount of builders every year?
Well, I think that's normally how they do it, but I think in this particular case, why not just have one?
You could. I mean, it's not unprecedented
to maybe make a change once in a while.
They made an exception for Gretzky. It's a bit of a different circumstance, but they made an exception for him. I don't know.
The Gretzky thing, they changed the rule after Gretzky. So it's kind of like, we threw you into the Hall of Fame right as you retire, and then they made a rule that you have to wait 3 years. So the rule is because of Gretzky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a rule before.
No, so it wasn't like really a rule. They threw him in. They're like, okay, we're just going to do it now because let's do it now. But then they made a hard rule being like, okay, you got to wait 3 years.
So when Crosby and Ovechkin retire,
Gretzky's going to be the one to do this, and then that's it.
They're just not going to do that?
It's a rule. Just wait 3 years. They have rules to their Hall of Fame.
That's probably just the Brett Favre rule, like make sure he doesn't come back with 8 different teams.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But
the whole incomplete work thing, like, isn't Lou Lamoriello in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, exactly. And probably was.
The Islanders.
What was he, 10 years ago he was in there? Yeah, I mean, maybe you just...
When he was GM of the Devils. When he was GM 3 teams ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, maybe you just cross a certain point where it's like, nobody's catching him. Just put him in. Like, it doesn't matter anymore.
He's not like taking a back roll to anybody. He's not doing the whole Cliff Fletcher thing. No, he's general manager. Yeah, that's very strange.
It's just also not Gary Bettman's fault. Like he had
he
had no decision. I'm sure he didn't want this. I'm sure he didn't want to be beside Willie O'Ree. Like I'm sure he's embarrassed by this because now all the attention's on him and not.
Probably hates it.
Yeah, it sounds like he hates this. And
well, hold on, we don't know that he hates this because he hasn't said he hates this, right? I mean, I know he was on Tim and Sid this afternoon.
Yeah, and he told us that he was at they had like some staff member who was retiring today, and they're all going away, and then it kind of derailed the retirement party because now everybody's talking about him, and he's like, I was left speechless, and I didn't. It's something you dream of, but you don't think it's going to come now.
I wonder if that was the Jim Gregory retirement party. By the way,
it sounds like he didn't want it. Now, so I'm just saying it's a Hall of Fame decision, and those guys seem like they made an odd decision, and I wouldn't have done it.
Have they run out of builders?
Yeah,
is Willie not enough?
Did Tim and Sid have on today?
We had 2. We had Willie O'Ree and Gary Bettman.
Oh, just 2.
That's all. That's all. My favorite thing about Willie O'Ree, though, and that's really what we should focus on here, is the man himself, and specifically the fact that he made the NHL hiding the fact that he was blind in one eye. And so this is from Luke Fox's article from February 29, leap year, 2012. What? And it's called The Remarkable Secret of Willie O'Ree. You should look this up because it's fantastic. It's a great interview. But I'm going to read this one quote. He said, you can Google me. This is Willie. You can Google me and find out a lot about me. But what they don't know is I lost my right eye when I was struck with a puck. I lost sight in my right eye, and the doctor said I would be blind in my right eye and you can never play hockey again. When I got out of the hospital, I told myself I just can't accept the fact that the doctor is telling me I'm never playing hockey again. I don't know. He doesn't know the burning desire I have within myself and the goals and dreams I've set for myself of not playing professional hockey, but not just playing professional hockey, but making it to the National Hockey League. So I started playing again. So he could have at that point just said that was it.
Prior to making the NHL.
Yep. So here's what's fun. I was a left-handed shot left winger. So to compensate, I had to turn my head all the way over my right shoulder to pick up the puck and play up. I played for the Aces that year, and then the Bruins invited me to training camp in 1957. I went to their training camp, then came back and started playing for the Quebec Aces, and the Bruins said, we want O'Ree to meet us in Montreal and play 2 games on January 18th, which was a Saturday in 1958, and then in Boston on the Sunday. I played 2 games. I went back to the parent club, the Aces, and we finished out the season. I went to the Bruins training camp the next year and got called up again in 60-61, played 41 games. And what's interesting about that is there's a change, and I don't want to give away the whole article, but the reason you should read this is when he talks about having to change positions, because originally he was on the other wing. And having to, but they said, we see you as, have you tried the other side, sir? And that made it more difficult for him, especially receiving backhanded passes. So
that made it hard?
Yeah.
That's
like,
the thing?
There's like a few things, but
holy smokes.
Crazy.
That's an unbelievable story. Love it.
Very, very cool. And a big shout out to Martin Brodeur, Martin St. Louis, Jana Hefford, Alexander Yakushev, obviously Willie and Gary, all getting in this year. Sergei Zubov, not in yet.
Daniel Alfredson.
Not in yet. Yeah.
Curtis Joseph. There's
Is he a Hall of Famer?
4th most wins all time. People are talking about Chris Osgood as a Hall of Famer.
Because he won a bunch of cups, but
backup, great.
Well, he was a starter for two Stanley Cup wins. and I think, Cujo
as a starter.
I think because Cujo didn't win a cup, people kind of discount him.
He got his cup.
Oh, did he get his cup?
He got his cup to Detroit that ridiculous year. It was Cujo Hasek.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Oh, I didn't remember.
Oh my God. They got
Cujo Hasek.
They stole Cujo from the Leafs. It didn't go so well, so then they signed Hasek the next summer. This is no cap, right? So they could do whatever the hell they wanted. Yeah. Oh yeah, they did.
It is absolutely ridiculous. I don't even remember.
Honestly, if they hadn't won the cup at that point, then it's their fault.
Oh,
right?
You have the best goalie tandem of all time. Like Sawchuk Bauer, Cujo Hasek.
Yeah, name another like a better goaltending tandem.
It's just unfair.
Martin Jones, Jonathan Quick. No.
Curtis Joseph also played for the Phoenix Coyotes.
He did?
So Cujo, I believe,
60 games in 05-06 and then 55 in 06-07
With the Leafs, right?
with the Coyotes.
Oh. And then he signed with the Leafs?
And then Calgary in 07-08 and then 21 games in 09-08 with the Leafs.
I saw like one of his last.
I forgot all
It was
this.
an overtime win over Atlanta. Oh shoot! What was I just about to say? I was so thrown off by the fact that Cujo played. Oh, you know what it was?
It's just wild that he played for the Coyotes. I didn't know that.
You know that goal of Ovechkin's rookie season where he's sliding on the ice on his back and he wraps the puck around his head?
Yes.
I believe that was Cujo in net. Remember, it was against the Coyotes.
I mean, with
No way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
With no disrespect to Cujo, I'm not surprised he was somewhat out of position in diving for a puck. That was sort of his thing.
Oh my God, I've said this story a number of times. I was told to look up a bunch of Cujo highlights for something they were doing at Leafs TV. And I was looking at this footage that was over 10 years old, well in the past, and getting anxious from it. I was getting anxious from how? How did he make the NHL? Let alone
90s, man.
One of the greatest goalies ever.
90s.
were ridiculous.
They're wild for goalies. Absolutely wild.
Cookie cutter butterfly? Hell no.
Did you see, have you
Is it Cujo in that?
I'm trying to figure that out. I'll let you know when I
Talk
figure
about the mask.
there's a hockey card that won Hockey Card of the Year. Cujo playing, I think it was Edmonton versus Dallas, and he is diving across to make a save, I think in game 6, and because he made that save, I think Edmonton won. And I have that hockey card. That was
That was the Todd Marchand game, and the puck goes back down the ice either later that shift or the next shift, and he scored in overtime, won the series. I watched it like last week for some reason. That's the only reason I know.
And little did Edmonton know how great the next 25 years would go.
Yes.
25. It hasn't been 25, has it? 20? 20.
It's been time.
It's been time.
we should also shout out your boys is Wayne Simmons, who also wrote an incredible article in the Players Tribune back in February, I believe it came. No, on April 9th, actually, it came out about Willie O'Ree called The Astronaut. You should give it a read.
And it mentioned Scarborough Town Center. Just want to throw that out there.
Also, Play It Against Sports, which is, I assume, a big part of everyone's childhood.
Yes.
Grew up in the GTA.
Yes, Play It Against Sports, where you got all your smelly hockey equipment, where you were like, please throw this in the wash, please God, I don't know what's on it. But it was cheaper than the new stuff, which is good. John Tavares.
Currently.
John Tavares. What?
Have we done a show since the draft?
No.
So that's later.
That's later.
Oh.
That's old news now. It's John Tavares.
How annoying is that? That something that happens like, I don't know, 12 hours ago is old news.
Are you
on
bemoaning
internet?
the news cycle, sir? This is how this works.
Well, this was like worst case scenario for us because when did we do a show?
Thursday.
Was it Thursday or was it Wednesday?
I think it might have been Wednesday.
Oh yeah, Wednesday.
And the draft was Friday, and today is Tuesday.
Yeah, and thank God the NHL sucks and is
news.
boring because there's been like no trades, and I mean, thankfully there's some draft action a little bit, but the John Tavares thing and the Dougie Hamilton thing are like the biggest things to happen. So let's start with Tavares.
I have a feeling July 2nd, 3rd is going to be a big old kablooey.
Oh, Dougie Hamilton was this year? According to Twitter, that was like 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I
Nobody's
know.
talking about it anymore.
See, it's not trending on Twitter. Doesn't matter.
Drafted in 1994.
According to Darren Dreger,
The Nordiques. Yes.
With Curtis Joseph.
This is from Darren Dreger on the other radio station, the 3-letter network radio station.
The Edge.
He said Tavares isn't talking. Pat Brisson isn't going to give you that sort of intel because they're being respectful of the process. But the word that I received from a secondary source, I will call it, was that JT, John Tavares, was very impressed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know. Steven, what's a secondary source? I want this to be true. Never have I ever wanted Darren Dreger to be right in my life more than this.
Wikipedia. I'm going to say that's like a secondary.
What is a secondary source?
It's on Wikipedia. He read it. some 8-year-old got on there, edited the John Tavares thing, and that's where he read it, and then he said it on the radio station. That's how it happened. That's how babies are made.
It sounds like it's not news.
Jesse, let's not question great news from a secondary source.
By the way,
Arachma Danny
hit on Tim and Sid.
It was one of the greatest things that's ever happened.
Yeah.
It's on. I think it's on the Sportsnet YouTube
It
channel.
is.
You have to look it up. The frustration is palpable that he was made to stand in the boiling California heat outside this agency to get nothing. Nothing. So Tavares isn't talking, his agent isn't talking. He's standing outside today, I think it was, or maybe last night, to get a 2-minute interview with Kyle Dubas after the presentation, and he says, I love to talk, but I can't. And he just gets in the car. What did Arash get accomplished other than one of the greatest Tim and Sid hits of all time?
Yeah.
That was so funny.
and
So angry.
And he's standing out there in the heat in a suit all damn day. He'd been there for 6 hours at that point. It's so great. It's so funny.
In a roundabout.
Yeah.
While people walk by doing their jobs.
It's amazing.
In the way, I think during the hit, someone was trying to back out of their spot.
So just
So frustrated.
Just so we're abundantly clear, everybody sort of thinks John Tavares is going to be with the Islanders next year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone among us who's like, he's going elsewhere. Definitively.
The worrying thing about Dreger's report there is it sounds like I'm sorry, are you surprised? Hey, the Leafs have good.
So, okay.
I don't like that.
So here's what...
Of course they did.
Here's a narrative that pops up this year that I have never seen before, and that is that the Leafs pitch with Stamkos, not only did it lose, it didn't go well.
It went poorly.
Well,
Yeah.
have we ever heard that before?
I've heard
People are saying this?
Yeah, it's been.
Oh, wow,
well,
I didn't hear
I'd
this.
never heard that. I knew that they didn't win it, obviously, but I didn't know it went poorly. So I guess that's sort of the surprise that, it went poorly last time. Maybe this time it went better. And I guess I don't know the actual story. I tweeted about it last night. Nobody seems to actually have an article we can link to.
Story?
Yeah.
I want to say it was the 31 Thoughts podcast because I heard this just the other day. I've done a lot of reading over the past couple of days. It all kind of blended together. I want to say it was Frege, who the presentation was just loaded with sponsorship stuff. And it sounded like it had nothing to do with hockey, basically, and that sort of scared Stamkos away. And I'm going to stick with the.
Well, they didn't have much of a team, or at least they thought back then. So
and there's that. I'm sure that helped his decision along. This didn't go 100% amazing, and also they stink. Easy decision.
yeah, pretty easy. And you know what?
For Johnny T, I think it's a lot tougher.
I think so too.
Stamkos stays in Tampa. We know they're a contender anyway. He comes to Toronto, they might be. If Tavares stays with the Islanders, that team didn't make the playoffs this year. I think they're a goalie away and maybe a defenseman away, but they didn't make the playoffs this year. Tavares goes to the Leafs? Holy shit. That's a team. That's a team. That's a top 5 team in the league. It's got to be.
Probably the top offense in the league.
If they get another defenseman.
Listen, no team is perfect.
Yeah. I mean,
You have an easier time getting that defenseman with Tavares.
Okay.
it is the cap world, and you're gonna have to.
Just saying. I'm just saying it's gonna be fun when you try and win a playoff game 6-5 and you can't do it because you got no defense.
I think that they're going to be able to fill those holes. I think it's going to be easy. I think they're going to find guys that were underutilized or weirdly utilized on other teams that they're going to be able to get for nothing. I really do. And are those guys going to come in and be Drew Doughty? No. But are they going to be able to exit the zone on the right side?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Blackhawks won a Stanley Cup with Antti Niemi as their starting goalie because he took Cristobal Huet's job. Don't tell me miracles aren't possible. They can happen. Ron Hainsey led the Penguins.
French legend, Cristobal Huet.
Yeah.
Literally, French Olympic team legend.
France-born goalie ever. Think of all the greatest France-born NHLers of all time.
Cristobal Huet.
Belmar.
Oh, Belmar's French.
Some others. Tons. And he did it.
And he's got his name on the cup.
He's got his name on the cup.
And by losing his job, he won them the cup.
Yep.
Wow.
Are
Antiniemi.
John Tavares and Austin Matthews better than peak Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves?
Whoa.
I don't think so.
Oh. They got to be in the conversation.
Me, man.
Got to be in the conversation.
Because that team also had Duncan Keith.
How many 30 goals?
Yeah, they did.
Does Tavares have?
It's a good question.
I think more. Pretty soon, Matthews is gonna have more.
Is Jake Gardner better than Duncan Keith?
No.
Clearly.
No.
Then
He's better than
then I don't think
Jake,
Toronto can win the cup.
Okay, all right. So here's I know Jesse's just doing this to be Jesse because no.
I think that's a legitimate argument.
I think you know that it's not. But
Matthews has done more with less.
I'm saying Matthews has 0 cups and Patrick Kane has a couple more.
3 more to be exact.
Thank you.
But where would he be without, 3-time 30 goal scorer Jonathan Taves?
I think he's 4th-time now. He got his 4th this year.
Oh, did he?
I'm pretty sure.
We gotta update the meme.
Can we look at? Can we look and make sure? Universe brain.
4-time 30 goals.
Oh my God.
Prolific scorer Alexander Ovechkin. Garbage. 8-time winner of the Rocket Richard Trophy. Is that ever going to happen again? By the way, is that ever going to happen?
Hall of Fame discussion. Taves or Panarin? It's clear. It's clear. Artemi Panarin, according to those blue and red bar charts, whatever they're called, Panarin, best player in the league.
Patrick Kane
Ever.
this season.
No, not him.
Who cares?
Patrick Kane this season had 27 goals. Patrick Kane
It's less than 30. He's tied with Patrick Marleau.
How many does he have then?
has 3 30-goal seasons.
Still?
Jonathan Taves had 20 goals this year.
Oh,
I mean, they had a bad year in Chicago.
oh no.
They did.
Oh.
Also, he's only a 2-time 30-goal scorer.
Oh, I love it.
Patrick Kane?
Jonathan Taves.
Oh, yeah. We knew that. But he's
Okay.
not a goal scorer, right? He's like the two-way centerman that is elite.
But yeah,
on
Patrick
now.
Kane's still sitting on 3 30-goal seasons.
How old?
Ah.
Mr. Kane is 29.
Aha.
No, Taves. Taves is older.
Oh my gosh, we're going back and forth.
30.
Can't keep up. He's 30 years old.
Well, that's the sweet spot, right? All I'm saying.
Is John Tavares should be with the Leafs because he was impressed with their presentation. That's what it should be. Right? That's what we're bringing it back
It's
to.
either the best or second best 1-2 punch in the league. Crosby Malkin's pretty damn hard to beat. They probably got a couple years to go before you can put them in the same conversation. But after that, come on now.
Pretty tough. Now, here's the thing. I feel like writers in this city that cover the Leafs are secretly hoping that he signs here. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Not more than the obvious reasons. If you're a writer covering the Leafs, if Tavares signs, you could probably take a good chunk of your summer off.
Oh, I just hope he signs July 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
Because
No later than that.
if he doesn't sign here,
He's kicked out to the KHL. Longer than 3 days.
what has to happen in Toronto for them to make improvements then becomes extremely complicated. Involves trades and salary cap and taking on bad contracts and all that stuff, which means rumors, which means articles explaining it. Absolutely, Steve.
I think they have several plans. One is if we get Johnny. One is if we don't. And other teams around the league.
But Johnny's one guy. I'm talking about from a writer's perspective. Johnny's one guy.
Boom.
Plan B is 3 or 4 different moves, right? That's my point. Make one move.
Dude, you add an $11 million salary or whatever it ends up being, I think the Leafs are going to have more moves than you think.
Oh, for sure.
They're going to have to move things around, plans that you were like, maybe during the season, you got to kind of get going quicker. I just hope the first 3 days of free agency are utter anarchy. Just bananas. And then we can all just go to sleep. Drink in our backyard. That's all I want. That's all I want.
Well, we won't have a choice because you're going to Scotland, so if they better get it done by the 4th, right?
Drinking for grandparents back.
The other teams in on this are the New York Islanders, obviously. Lou Lamoriello showing up underground. Lou Lamoriello makes an entrance by not making an entrance. He
just comes up out of the floor like Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Who's that jumping out this guy? Like, what is the secrecy? We know you're there. We know you're there, Lou.
At this point, you do kind of have to ask why. Like, what actual plausible benefit does that give you?
Because it's cool.
Was there someone else with him, I wondered, though, that like was part of the pitch? Like a player or something? Barry Trotz? I mean, you would hope Barry Trotz would be there.
Trotz. I mean, the Leafs brought Shanahan and Babcock. The Bruins, didn't they bring... They brought someone from the coaching staff, and the Sharks brought...
Cam Neely was definitely there, too, obviously.
I think did I see Joe Pavelski's wife today tweet?
And his grandmother.
Oh, it was his grandmother. That's funny. You should sign with the Sharks.
Have we been on a show since Trotz was hired in New York?
No.
I want to say that happened
the next day.
Was that the night of? I don't know.
No.
Is it?
A while.
Doesn't it look really bad on Washington that they couldn't?
Hold on. Let's stay on Tavares. We're staying on this track. We're on Tavares right now. I know. We'll talk about it. We got it. Don't worry. I got it. New York Islanders, Tampa Bay Lightning, Dallas Stars, Boston Bruins, San Jose Sharks. Everybody's talking about, Arthur Staple went on Tim and Sid yesterday, and he talked about the fact that if he were to put odds on it, the second favorite team after the Islanders has got to be the Leafs for him.
Hey,
but
that's pretty good.
The team I keep hearing is San Jose. I keep hearing about Doug Wilson. Doug Wilson's a great salesman, and he's also done some pretty big contracts recently.
He ripped the Sens off.
Sure did.
Pretty good.
Good little move with Mike Hoffman there. Was able to acquire Evander Kane for next to nothing. That contract's huge, but if he really believes in you, he gives you the money. And there's a lot happening with San Jose that is good culture-wise. So, I mean, you can see how that would be attractive. I don't think any of the teams here on this list are teams that in any situation you would count out.
No. Dallas is a bit of a stretch for me because, hey, John, do you want to play for the Islanders but in green? Because we can make that happen.
What do you mean? You mean Ben Bishop, though? They got Ben Bishop.
Yeah. That's not concerning at all. No, he was okay. But, that team is still, it struggles defensively. Although they got John Klingberg, who can, I guess, put up points from the back end. They remind me a lot of the Islanders in that they're very top-heavy. Their forwards are really good. Mm-hmm. Their defense is kind of meh, and their goaltending was a little bit suspect. But they have a chance to address that because Kerry Lettinen is a free agent. And they got some money freeing up there. I guess it's not that confusing. They got some cap space, and they want to use it. Mm-hmm. So, of course, he's going to hear them out.
The head-scratcher for me is the Lightning. How are they even in here?
Just the nerve. The audacity. I don't... What, Braden Point third-line center? You bunch of greedy jerks?
Well,
Are you serious?
Here's how confident Tampa is. They re-signed JT Miller to a $5.25 million contract with a no-move clause today. And he... and it's
That's
a 5-year deal.
5.25 per year.
Per year, yeah, sorry.
And, the whole thing...
That's what I meant, sorry, my bad.
The McDonough...
It was basically the same money Clarkson got. Let me just throw that out there.
Wow.
$27.5 million.
You know what's amazing about how bad that Clarkson contract was? Less. I believe he was 5.75.
Oh, was it? Ah, interesting.
$500,000 a year, less, all these years later. Garbage!
Not bitter.
Tire fire! No, not scarred at all. No, but we were talking about this year. Well, they got the best shot at winning the cup, and they get to the Final Four. That's pretty good. But no matter, they're going to be a cup contender next year. And then after that, I suppose that's when Miller and McDonough leave. Psych! Extension! Are you joking? What salary cap? There is none. And then I went, you know what annoyed me the most is I went and looked at the cap friendly. It's not that bad. It will be awful.
Well, Kucherov's got to come up here soon. And Vasilevsky in 2 years.
Yeah, so, okay. They signed Tavares. What's the plan there? What are you doing?
Well,
you're losing your starting goalie?
Who do you trade?
Star winger? You're losing both? What's going on?
Who do you trade?
Yeah, because someone needs to come off their roster for them even to make the initial signing because they only have $5.3 million in current cap space.
Ryan Callahan.
Yeah.
is the
but
easy name there.
How do you get someone to take
how
him?
do you dump them?
Great question. Lucic. There you go. Callahan, Lucic, somehow. Math.
So you take like 200 grand
You can't
more?
just be like, hey, okay, worst guy on the team with the biggest cap hit, let's get rid of him.
So-
like, somebody's got to take him, right?
I have no idea.
Okay, here's what, because Ryan Callahan has a no move and a modified no trade, which means,
When does it expire?
He has a 16-team list that he has to submit.
yeah.
That's a healthy question.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Ryan Callahan making $5.8 million, not just this coming year, but the year after. You're throwing in a prospect at that point. I mean, they have the prospects.
How do they...
I just don't think it's happening. I just don't think Tampa's getting John.
Well, and here's the fun part. After next year, okay, so they've signed JT Miller to $5.25 million. After next year, their only defensemen that are signed are Dotchin. No, not even Dotchin. Just Sergachev and Hedman. That's it. McDonough, Strawman, Coburn, Girardi, all UFA.
You signed Tavares
And Dotchin, RFA.
for the sun and the moon and use it to address your back end. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is.
I mean, they must be able, like, the thing about good teams, the way you're supposed to run these teams, and I believe that's exactly what Tampa's done, is you draft really well after you have your superstars, and the idea is when you draft really well in late first, second, and third, that you develop these guys over 3 or 4 years, and by the time that your other wingers are ready to go, you trade your other established NHL wingers and you bring the new guys up, or you trade your young guys to keep some of the other ones.
That whole 5-year rebuild thing, like Tampa's a good example of that. You draft until you have enough good players to fill out your roster. Then you draft until the point where you have too many.
Yeah.
Then you swing for the fences.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much exactly what they've done in that order. Like, this hasn't been a riskless adventure. There was the Drouin saga. Then they swung for the fences with that trade. Then they get the big fish at the deadline, and now they're going for John Tavares. The audacity! Like, Lightning fans annoyed me the other day because I said it's obnoxious that the Lightning are in on John Tavares, and they had the audacity to pretend like they didn't know what I was talking about. Oh, that coming from a Leafs fan. It's a compliment, you idiots! It's a compliment! You had the best team in the league, IMO, and now you're going for the best free agent available after getting the best trade deadline guy available? Stop! You're bullies at this point. It's mean. It's aggressive.
By the way, I believe by signing JT Miller. Oh, no, sorry. You know what? I was wrong about the no trade clause. There was no trade clause in that. I was going to say that he has to be protected in the expansion draft, but he maybe doesn't. So maybe they're thinking, see ya. We'll have you for the next couple of years. See you at the expansion draft.
Oh, yeah. That was a really annoying thing that, everyone was talking about, there's going to be this trade, that trade, heading into the draft. And then afterwards, when it was kind of a dud, they go, well, a lot of GMs are scared because of the
Tavares. I won the expansion draft.
That annoyed me. That ticked me off, man. Like, so we're just gonna lose.
We're just not gonna be better.
Did you see the quote from Pierre Dorian on draft day where he said, "It's been the quietest day this week so far. I remember calling a GM at 2:30 today, and he said, 'You're the first call I got.'" That's from Pierre Dorian.
Man, the NHL just cannot get the entertainment factor right. Like, it's a good thing hockey, the game, is so great because the rest of it is just a disaster. It's, oh my God, here we go. We got the trades coming. It's the trade deadline. And just McDonough and JT Miller. All right, it's NHL draft season. Let's go. We got trade. So Pierre Dorian's my first call. 2:30 in the afternoon. Free agency. Nobody's available.
JT reserves.
Yeah.
They just forget to sign him.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a bunch of people in Muskoka on July 5th. Like, can't help but feel like I'm forgetting. Oh no!
They all get to their helicopters.
There's no reception. Get to their helicopter.
Oh, in Muskoka, there would for sure be reception and helicopters.
Yes. Where you go to rough it.
So I want to dispel a little myth here. Dispel.
I
I don't want to spell myth. I know how to spell myth.
was about to say.
But I want to dispel a myth. And that myth is that the Toronto Maple Leafs cannot afford John Tavares. Look at the cap hit of
cost $80 million for one season.
No.
That's the only way they can't afford him.
So no, but there is a
the salary cap is 79.5.
No, but
Where's the lie?
No, there are rules.
No.
On the
now you have to ice a team.
Yeah.
No, I don't recall.
One player can only take up a percentage of the entire cap. So that percentage would be the amount that John Tavares is allowed to sign for.
I don't recall.
All right.
So here's what the Leafs have. Okay.
A great team. What else?
The Leafs have a David Pastrnak light deal coming with William Nylander.
I hope.
Depends
on.
Now his metrics are much better than I think the perception of him is in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like his Stephen Birch actually had a great set of tweets, and I'm just looking for them. Here's what he said. So Kevin Capetti, who's a really good follow, he's from Pension Plan Puppets. He said for their first two NHL seasons, Tavares played 161 NHL games. He had 53 goals and 68 assists for a .75 points per game.
Hey.
Mitch Marner, 159 games through his first two seasons, 41 goals, 89 assists, 130 points, 82 points per game. But not points per game. Yeah. 0.82, that is. Matthews, 144 games played. 74 goals. Wow. 58 assists, 132 points, so the most of all three of them so far, and a .92 points per game played. Now, Stephen Birch added onto that, and I'm glad he did. Nylander, his first two NHL seasons, plus an extra 22 games at 19.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
185 games played, 48 goals, 135 points, and a .73 points per game.
Wow.
That means he right now, and I'm not saying, don't take this out of context, please. Production is tracking just under what John Tavares was tracking at the same age. That's all I'm saying.
About, hey, if you sign Tavares, you could trade Nylander. Kyle Dubas is trading William Nylander over his dead body. He is not doing it.
It's not happening.
I think he loves that player. I don't think that's going to happen.
So here's the interesting thing.
He'll explore other moves before he does that.
The interesting thing is people say the Leafs can't afford them. Well, this year he can't. You can have the super team this year. You don't need to sign Tavares to the 1-year max deal. It's not a problem. However, people are like, well, what about next year? You're going to have to trade one of the big three. Well, no, you don't, because you've got...
What, like the Penguins did?
Exactly. You've got Gardner coming off the cap, for sure.
You're going to have to replace that.
Or trade him this year, which I keep advocating, not because of Game 7.
Or Drew Doughty.
Because it's prudent.
Nikita Zaitsev is making $4 million, and they're looking to move him.
Have fun with that.
Ron Hainsey has got 3 for one more season, and he's done after that. So that's just off the books. That's $8 million off the books next summer. Gone. And then you got Patrick Marleau. On July 2nd, Patrick Marleau, after his bonus is paid, I think it's they're on the hook for $1.5 million or something?
Not a lot of money.
So you can trade him literally anywhere, especially to teams looking to hit the cap floor, and they're only going to be on the hook for $1.5 million when his cap hit will be $6.25. So... and people are like, well, he's not going to retire. I'm like, well, then you can trade him to San Jose. I'm sure they'll take him. Like, I really...
Or if he's an 82-game, 27-goal scorer again, I don't know, maybe you just find a way to keep him.
Yeah, but my point is, and then you got Hyman and Brown on $2 million deals. If they're making $2 million, Kapanen and Janssen can't be making much more than that. Kapanen is going to have to be extended here after next season.
Kapanen, who's that?
Kasperi Kapanen?
Oh, did the Leafs draft him?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
They didn't.
Where'd you get him from?
Penguins for Phil Kessel.
Got him from for Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah. No, I don't know where he's going with this.
Where are you going with this?
Teams make moves. Teams find out a way. Like the Penguins, remember when they're on the verge of getting Malkin because they have 2 superstars, and Jim Rutherford said, guess what? Boom! 3! Last break! Jim Rutherford, 2 cups! Stunner! Jim didn't care.
Jim Rutherford stone cold stunnered the whole league.
Figure it out. And the Penguins have figured it out over the years. They had to lose Hossa. They got like some old guy mercenaries like Bill Guerin.
Mark Recchi. That was a thing that happened. Hal Gill from the Toronto Maple Leafs. There you go. And yes, they've had Chris Letang the whole time. I get it.
Of course. Well, how did they manage with Chris Letang the whole time?
$7 million Chris Letang.
That's crazy. But remember, Chris Letang, I think at the beginning of that was the young, cheap guy.
Yeah, he was.
They drafted well. And then the Blackhawks, they had this young, scrappy team. They win a cup. It got expensive. They lose a few. They win a cup like 2 years later. Make a couple.
Yeah, they come back with guys like Panarin and Saad and win a cup. How do you do that?
The Saad was, I want to say, the 2013 one. Mm-hmm. He was a cheap guy. Andrew Shaw was also there. He was a cheap guy.
Panarin was a rookie of the year at 24.
Something like that. And Corey Crawford wasn't even there for the first one. That was a draft. So you figure it out, okay? I can't see it at this exact moment, so it's never going to work. Get creative. Use your imaginations. None of you watch Barney? Come on.
Who are you yelling at?
Everyone who's like they couldn't possibly.
No,
Zaitsev have to leave forever. No trades can be. No one in the NHL has ever been traded. Did you know that? I learned that, and it's a thing that is very concerning to me because, goodness gracious, look at that team. Could use some moves. I just don't understand. The Penguins couldn't possibly. And Jim Rutherford said, "Watch me." The best GMs in this league say, "Watch me," and also get it right. Mark Bergevin has said, "Watch me" a few times.
Well, speaking of Mark Bergevin, Montreal did ask for a meeting with Tavares, and Mark Bergevin and Pat Brisson apparently are quite close.
Yeah.
But they were turned down. Now,
that's hilarious. I love it.
What's interesting about the whole Montreal situation, and I do want to get into them a little bit here.
I keep looking at your screen.
Subban, Galch, Cassian. All traded because
they're bad hockey players.
No, I mean they're varying degree of hockey players. One's great, one's good, one's above replacement level.
Yeah.
All guys that could fit in on their current roster, though.
Goodness.
Why were they traded?
Can't imagine why.
Was
it something? So you're telling me then it was something off the ice?
I might suggest that was suggested.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good on the Habs to solve their culture issue. But what were you going to say?
Well, I find it funny that a team with so many culture issues that they've had to move so many players out. Because clearly, those players were what created the culture. It couldn't be the culture that's currently already there. I find it funny that team, so focused on character and culture, would be interested and have reached out to Slava Voinov. I find that interesting.
Do you think it's funny how?
Is he allowed to play in the NHL?
He's got a hearing on the 2nd of July, and I think they're basically the idea is, can he work in the States? He's now allowed back in the States. He was booted and was not allowed in the States for a couple of years, and now is allowed obviously back.
So he can vacation?
Yeah,
States?
But the word is, can he work?
So he's going to court or something?
To figure that out. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
probably shouldn't be allowed back in the country.
Find another way.
We don't need to dwell on this. I think it's pretty obvious how all of us would feel about this. Everybody, any decent person.
He was convicted and stuff. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
And it was so bad, neighbors had to call the cops.
Oh God.
So we don't need to get into details. They're out there. If you want to look them up, look them up. But the point is, if you have this focus on character issue, if you keep using that as a way to get guys out of town, as devaluing your guys before you trade them, and then shooting them in the back as they walk out the door. If that's how you're going to run your franchise, reaching out to Slava Voinov, maybe a bad idea.
Maybe.
That's very sleazy.
Also, in general.
Yeah.
Your team has made all the right decisions, and you're also thinking about signing Slava Voinov. Screw you too.
It's a good point. It's a good point. JVR and Bozak have garnered significant interest on the free agent market, and that's not really surprising.
No. I'd be surprised if it was the opposite.
I would have been surprised if anybody had said, and the Leafs called.
they're still in on Bozak, and I get that. They should be. They are not deep on centers, and they have an opening at C3 or 3C. There are centers available. There's not a ton. There's some projects. Per Lindholm's an option. Per Lindholm, sorry, I keep getting corrected by our Swedish listeners. Angry Swedish listeners, even. But yeah, you shouldn't hang up the phone on Bozak just yet.
Can I throw out a name?
Please.
Riley Sheehan,
Is he available?
a UFA.
Riley Sheehan's interesting. He's a fourth line option. I like Riley Nash.
Fourth line?
Riley Sheehan?
Yeah. He went like 80. Didn't he go 78 games in Detroit 2 years ago without scoring a goal?
I think it was even longer than that. But I think, didn't he follow it up with like a 14-goal season or something? Or?
Yeah, he had a decent.
He's not a
year
3C.
with Pittsburgh.
He's not a 3C.
Okay.
Oh, no, see, he was a 4C in Pittsburgh after they got Brisson.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, they have Broussard.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But how? Didn't they get Vegas to retain and
Yeah.
they got a pick somehow or something? How? I don't get it.
So the Penguins, they didn't qualify Sheehan this week, so he becomes UFA. And in 81 games, he had 11 goals, 21 assists, 32 points.
Hey, that's not bad offensive production. And he can kill penalties, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what he did for them. And there's some familiarity with Babcock. Yeah, I don't hate that as an idea.
Maybe as a 4 or 5 guy.
Much money? Yeah.
There's an injury?
It's not too much money. I don't hate that. It's an idea. But at number 3?
No.
I don't know about that.
Well, it's Tavares, Matthews, Kadri, Sheehan.
Then he'd be number 4.
Right.
And I actually don't care. You can make Freddie Gauthier the 4th.
Do you want to be fourth line center?
Great idea, Kyle.
Do you want to be fourth line center?
Could. I could. A lot of ozone starts. That's what I would be getting.
How many faceoffs would you win?
I bet I could win. Like,
no.
Let's hear this.
no, you're not going to do it.
No. Tell me right now with your mouth, out of the mouth of Steve Dangle, I could win an NHL faceoff for the Toronto Maple Leafs if they inserted me as fourth line center.
If given enough opportunity, I could win an NHL
No,
faceoff.
you could not.
An NHL game.
No, you couldn't.
I could.
When Dominic Moore is making the rounds for Smash Fest this summer, do you think we can ask him to line something
my
like that
God.
on Mattamy? Like on the,
Here's synthetic ice.
no, we'll just go to Mattamy. We'll just go to the old Maple Leaf Gardens.
Duel me in face-off until you lose.
You take
How long would it
50
take?
faceoffs versus any player in the NHL, you lose 50.
And Dom's competitive. I played him in ping pong once.
No.
I think I'm really I'm smart and strong, and I could do it. I've played a lot of video games, Jesse, as a defenseman. But I would learn. I used to be really good at it.
All of this is relevant.
It's so relevant.
I
I could
think-
win an NHL face-off
Totally.
if given. Because you know what they would probably do is they'd go too early and the ref would be like, watch it or you're gonna get a penalty, and they'd be like all hesitant.
That's when you'll sneak in.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Bounce on that, like a catch.
All right, what's next? I'm done.
I get that mouse.
Steve said he could win an NHL faceoff.
No
That's
cheese
it.
needed. I could win an NHL face-off.
Yep. Versus a professional hockey player.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
We have to. We have to put this to the test now. We just
Sure.
need to reach out.
Yeah.
Just
Because everybody's
Still
confused as to
LeBron.
whether or not he's going to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
As though the outcome isn't already predetermined.
So we need to prove it.
We must do this
Yeah.
video. We must.
Because it's up in the air. Who would possibly win?
how could we know until we tested it? Science, right?
Yeah.
listen.
If there's any mathematicians listening, I would love to know what Steve's.
I could do it.
What are Steve's actual mathematical chances? Is there a way to calculate that?
0. Like, it's not.
I would love to know.
Okay, who had the worst face-off percentage in the NHL?
It
Like
doesn't
this past
matter.
season.
You couldn't win a face-off versus an AHL player.
If 50 chances?
Yes.
Yeah, I could.
All right. Moving on.
I
What's
don't
next?
know. I probably couldn't. Who am I kidding?
A junior player.
No, I'm really good.
Okay, so
Okay, can I have a goalie stick?
No.
Next.
Why?
No, you can't.
Why is that against rules?
Another free agent that is garnering a lot of interest. Surprise, surprise. Calvin DeHaan.
Why? Is he good?
Because he's a very strong player, and now it's interesting because he only played 33 games last year. They're saying his cap hit might go lower. And also, here's the problem. Now it's going to explode because John Carlson re-signed.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. I was seeing people talk about how thin the defensive market is. I didn't realize how thin.
Like, it's thin.
Mike Green is arguably the best right shot available, or will get paid as such. And another name I saw in there that I hadn't seen for a very long time was John Moore. Do you remember John Moore?
No, but I saw it come up today, and I was like, okay.
He was one of those guys, I want to say, drafted by the Blue Jackets, and everyone's like, look out for John Moore. Okay.
There's a list of defensemen.
Well, there's a couple I want to bring up, too, that I want to do a special spotlight on.
Okay.
But John Carlson first. Let's talk about John Carlson, because that's why I wanted the Calvin DeHaan to lead into John Carlson. By the way, Leafs signed Calvin DeHaan. What do we think of that deal? 8 over 8.
I mean, it's no good. I don't think it's very good, but you keep your team intact. Look, if there's any team, and this is going to sound very stupid, but whatever, here I go. If any team is going to overpay for a player who's a free agent, I think it makes the most sense for the team that he's already on. Because you maintain some goodwill, your fans are happy that he's staying with the team, they like that player, and you also just won the cup. Like, you're justified in making that deal. It's not like he's going to be bad. He might be at the end of it. But it's, what are we going to do? They just traded Brooks Orpik.
Yeah. Yep.
They'll be able to trade John Carlson at the end of that deal. I don't blame them for that deal. And all they had to do was give him a raise on top of, what was he already getting?
I don't know.
I don't have it in front of me.
It was probably, let's say it's even half. Let's say it was 4.
Yeah.
It's only a $4 million cap crunch.
Probably not
cap hit for them.
Most meticulous way to look at it, but like, let's say he was making 4. Really, you're only adding on 4.
He was making. Oh, that's not right.
Nope.
He was not making
3.96667.
That's a contract.
It's a weird number. They went to the wire on that one.
Yeah, that's a very weird number. Also, that's a wicked contract they had him on.
3.9, yeah.
Yeah, he's making too much money. But you're keeping the top point scorer from the Stanley Cup champion.
Plus, the money that you traded with Orpik went to him.
Yeah.
Plus, you got $1 million extra bucks.
And I think once you win the cup, you're kind of the next couple of years. It's like, okay, if we screwed up a contract, we got a cup in our back pocket.
Dude,
Yeah.
So
We get
it's
some
okay.
goodwill for 30 years.
Exactly. You're okay for. In Washington, they can screw up some things because they're okay for a little bit because they just won.
Pittsburgh's spoiled. You get like 6 months goodwill. Washington, they can stink for 6 years. I think they're good.
People are like, but we won the cup this decade.
Yeah.
Their goodwill's not going to expire until that contract's done. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, if the Leafs win the cup and then make a bad signing, do you care?
No.
No, we just won the cup.
No.
So if I'm a Washington fan, I'm not too worried.
No. And they made a smart trade in getting Michael Kempny out of Chicago. But Chicago's defense, man, was so weirdly used this year. And I wondered if Joel Quenneville was going to leave because it seemed like he was at odds with management. Cody Franzen on the right side had the best advanced numbers, and he played 40-plus games with Rockford. And
There's got to be something.
Michael Kempny is another guy that was underutilized, and people were like, if you just put him in these situations, and Washington did, he turned out to be a very, very useful piece for them. And they're going to try to re-sign him, but that's another guy for the Leafs where I go,
And don't forget the Halmerson storm out.
Yes, he was not happy about that. So that's why Connor Murphy kept getting the top 4 minutes. Oh, you think this guy's top 4 minutes guy? Okay, here you go. I wonder.
Was it?
Well, I don't know.
I
mean, he may not have had the horses to do it.
The Blackhawks weren't doing so bad before Crawford went down. So there was that.
So a lot of the focus about the Leafs not being able to afford Tavares circles around their defense, and it's like, well, you got Tavares, so you should trade Kadri or you should trade Nylander.
Where did you see?
Oh, I'm seeing names come up all the time, and it's not
Connor Brown, Bracco, Nielsen.
for hypothetical number 1 defenseman. When I'm not convinced that they need that. What I think they need is a bunch of zone exit animals.
They need a guy
They need a guy.
Better defense.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But to pay the price that you have to pay for a right-handed defenseman in the current market is insane.
Well, and
It's insane.
like we discussed, though, like if they don't address it in the summer, it's not the end of the world. They had like a gaping hole on defense all season.
Still had 105 points.
Yeah, they got by. It does need to be addressed, though. Like you can't.
But
You can knock down the first round.
could it be a guy like, and this guy's a pretty big name actually, so I'm not really going low on this one, but I thought Calvin Hahn, but I also thought, and this guy apparently has been asked for his his team trade list, is Jared Spurgeon.
Jared Spurgeon is a great name. I saw that and was very excited. Matt Dumba, I keep hearing over and over again.
Now, Matt Dumba is more of an offensive guy, but really, ultimately, it's not that they can't play defense on the Leafs, it's that they couldn't exit the zone. That was the major key there.
Spurgeon's a little guy, too.
Oh, man.
No, but like Dubas he doesn't care.
Yeah,
He doesn't
it's
care.
true.
He likes mobile defensemen. I'd take Jared Spurgeon. I don't remember his contract, but isn't it all right?
It's 5.1 for the next 2 years.
That is A-okay.
Now, would you rather have Jared Spurgeon, which you'd have to trade for,
Yeah.
and have him for 2 years at 5.1, or sweeten the package a little bit and trade for Drew Doughty for 1 year for $7 million? What about them apples?
Jesse's just desperate.
How dare you?
I want Drew Doughty so badly.
Yeah, I bet you could flip Gardner and something, or I bet Gardner for Spurgeon straight up, and they'd do it because that's a 52-point defenseman. You might
Straight up?
straight up. I
Gardner
think,
for Spurgeon.
I mean, what was Spurgeon's points last year? I don't have them offhand.
What are his
Look him up. Look
I just feel like Dubas is going to do something that we're not expecting. We keep thinking with our little caveman brains,
It's true.
but he's galaxy brain, God brain, Dubas brain. It's a brain with thick frame glasses. That's it. That's all.
If we could get a visual, if anybody could make a visualization of Kyle Dubas, just a brain with glasses flying across the screen.
Spurgeon last season, 61 games played, 9 goals, 28 assists, 37 points. He sat at a
Very good.
Corsi 4 percentage of 50 and PDO's at 98.2.
This is Rel. Corsi Rel.
It's Corsi Rel 4.2.
Positive.
4.2?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I feel like they need.
should definitely go for it.
Yeah, I mean but it's the balance that you're going for. I mean, Jared Spurgeon is a very, very good defenseman, but is he Erik Karlsson, Drew Doughty? I don't know who else you want to put in that category.
Chris Tanev.
Okay, fine.
What?
But the point is, I don't even know if he's Chris Tanev. Well, that contextualized it for me, Steve. I appreciate it.
Explain why that doesn't make sense. You're going, he's not like superstar.
Whenever
And is under
when I need a bar.
under that.
No, Adam.
Would you like me to write it on a board for you as well? He's a marker board?
He's no
Perhaps a
Toyota
paper
Corolla to
crayon?
my Honda Civic. Am I right?
I wouldn't know what you meant.
He's no McLaren. He's no Lamborghini. He's no Honda Civic. Like, where are you going with that?
I'm following this allegedly bullshit scenario that you've laid out. Terrible.
All I know is we always use Chris Tanev as bars on the show. Like,
you
that's
know
where
what?
we evaluate defensemen all the time. It's something we always do.
Understood what I said. You guys are both dumb. Everyone listening got it.
All right.
No Chris
Yes,
Tanev.
he's not that.
The point is,
Well, what do you mean? Why are you using those guys as a bar, Adam? I don't understand. What are you saying? Why do I have
I don't know, honestly.
we have to get you.
for me?
We have to get you
No, but-
espresso before every show.
What am I wasting my time here for?
Why is Chris Tanev relevant to other defensemen?
Adam, how did you start that whole thing again?
I think we're focusing on.
Yeah, we're focusing on the wrong
move on.
thing.
Let's move on.
Steve, we're moving on.
I'm right.
I screwed up.
Steve, the
I
point-
screwed up by asking a follow
The
up.
point is,
I agree that you screwed up. Very good.
Jared Spurgeon. How many points did he have?
Jared Spurgeon?
Oh, who cares?
37.
37. So you might be able to say, listen, Jake Gardner's got 1 year at the same thing that Jared Spurgeon has. Jake Gardner's smooth skating, incredible defenseman, blah, 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 blah. We know we talked to his agent because Kyle Dubas did talk to his agent and said, this is how much it's going to cost to keep him. We will give you 1 year of Jake Gardner for 2 years of Jared Spurgeon. Is there some, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying that you do the trade 1 for 1, although why not? And what it gives the Leafs at that point is some balance. It's not that they don't have talent on the back end. They do, but it's all on the left side. And I think, based on how Travis Dermott played in the regular season last year, that he is ready for top 4 minutes. And if you don't want to start him there, put Ron Hainsey in the second spot for the first 40 games.
But
because Ron
first
Hainsey...
line?
What, your first?
Yeah.
Riley Spurgeon.
Jared Spurgeon.
Spurgeon, yeah, Riley Spurgeon.
Sorry.
Is Spurgeon too offensively minded to play with Riley? Because that's the benefit of having Hainsey there.
I think it doesn't matter because the offense would be so good with those two that the defense would be good.
It does
Can I galaxy brain this? Wasn't something, was it Dundon? Tom Dundon was talking about was like the culture with Carolina? Where did Hainsey come from?
Carolina.
Penguins.
Oh.
Where was he before that?
Carolina.
What if they want to get him back as like a
They might.
kind of wily old guy?
They might.
Man, you think it's crazy?
I don't.
No,
I don't think it's crazy.
It's awesome.
Crazy.
And we got to talk about Carolina in a minute, but like,
It happened.
in the meantime, a guy like Spurgeon, a guy like Tanev, whatever those guys cost, to me, it's worth it to move a guy like Jake Gardner, again, who is a great defenseman, who is a 52-point defenseman. You cannot find those guys every day, but he's got 1 year left. If you can get a couple of years out of a guy who's similar, but on the right side, or maybe a little bit worse, maybe he's not as good, and then you allow Travis Dermott some time to get in there. You've got Borgman, you've got Rosen, you've got so many guys up the left side.
You got Coffee Man, Connor Carrick.
Well, he's a right-handed, and so is Liljegren. But
And also the 19 defensemen they just drafted.
But then, does that not take the pressure too off Nikita Zaitsev, who hopefully will have a rebound season?
It would. Can I hot take this?
Please.
I think in a perfect Kyle Dubas world, he'd extend Gardner. He'd find a way to get that done.
He is pretty outstanding. Whoa.
Be opposed to it.
I wouldn't either. I want to
see the number.
I'm spitballing. Another guy
the Carlson number actually doesn't make me feel so bad because, Gardner's not getting that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not getting close to that. So
what's the number? 5?
if it
Gardner's at 4, right?
If it begins with a 6, I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, because really,
Is there a problem that Jake Gardner becomes your highest paid defenseman?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think so.
How long are you going to be able to have highest paid defenseman Morgan Riley making $5 million? I just don't think.
But is the guy you put above Morgan Riley Jake Gardner?
I don't think you worry about the optics.
Yeah.
I think
they do.
Morgan Riley signed the deal he signed.
Was Tavares
Like,
the highest paid Islander this past season? Sometimes you just sign a long-term deal that
it is what it is.
ages.
Yeah.
Riley's deal is sick. That's a good deal.
So was Kadri.
That was a great day. They signed that Riley contract and that Kadri contract on the same day.
Now, another guy that kind of came up and has interesting numbers and could be a good 5-6 guy for the Leafs on the right side.
Eberle made more than Tavares this year, by the way.
There you go.
By
Wow.
$500,000.
Nick Shore. Calgary chose not to qualify him, and Ottawa didn't qualify Frederick Claesson too, which I thought was interesting.
I wanted Vegas to take him from Ottawa.
Yeah.
They figured it out with Mark Mathot and trading him around and everything, but I thought they were going to take Claesson, yeah.
But Nick Shore, that's a guy that I think to qualify him would have been $975,000. That's all it would have cost them.
There are a lot of
So you can
players let go. I thought it was strange.
So if you can get Nick Shore for $1 million, take a flyer.
Yeah, this whole thing about there not being any centers available and it's hard to get centers. It's hard to get star centers, but there's guys. There's guys available. Derek Ryan, sounds like Calgary wants him in the worst way.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Shore is available. Bozak is still an option. There's guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys out there. Oh, yeah, a little guy named John Tavares.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wonder if Nick Shore is going to be somewhat like a Jordan Wheel, like it was last year.
There was actually an interesting qualifying offer thing with the Leafs. Is that on your list?
Well, we can bring it up. I've got all the qualifying offers that they made. Give me a sec.
I think it was all the restricted free agents.
Yeah.
Remaining.
Wait, you mean I've got the people that Nylander, Janssen, Gauthier, Altonen, Hall, and Marincin were all qualified.
Yeah, so they qualified Altonen to keep his NHL rights. He's leaving for the KHL.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And that's interesting. They're leaving the door open for him to come back. It sounded like Dubas actually wanted to give him a shot. Mm-hmm. That is sort of what it sounded like. But correct me if I'm wrong, a qualifying offer means you're offering them, just to start, 100% of their previous contract.
That's what I believe, yes.
So I'm surprised people didn't make a bigger deal of the Leafs offering Martin Marincin $1.25 million. Because is that not what his qualifying offer is?
I mean, I don't think we're at the part of the season where we're gonna obsess over $500,000, really. Because I think there are bigger stories.
He played in the AHL last year, almost exclusively, and they just went, "Here you go."
Well, he had a great playoff, man.
He did have a great playoff, and I think the key thing there is even if they don't necessarily think he's worth it, they can bury almost the entire thing.
Exactly. I think that's what they're planning on doing.
And the other option is, would you rather him be a UFA? Because if you don't extend a qualifying offer, then they're automatically a UFA.
And based on the season he had,
just offer it, and then you have their rights.
And based on the season he had, somebody would have picked him up.
Yeah.
In the A? Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's a fringe NHL player.
For sure.
He deserves
there would have been people.
A shot.
Well, he's had some shots.
Sorry.
So, yeah, let's not go to bat too hard for Martin Marincin. I'd like to see him perform at the NHL level the way he did at the AHL level.
Had he not been making over $1 million, he plays in the NHL last year.
Is Marincin our number one defenseman next year?
Yep.
He might be on the right side.
Carrick. The Babcock hate pairing.
Apparently, Toronto was, this is according to Elliot Friedman in 31 Thoughts, Toronto was asking a pretty big price for anyone to get into the 25th spot. They were looking for defensemen. So if you wanted
straight up.
Yeah, but they did end up trading down, obviously, and they got Sandin at 29. What did you think of Toronto's? I mean, listen, I don't want to go too much into the draft for Toronto's sake because everybody's like, well, a B minus. Do we know?
No, we don't. We really don't. You know what? A lot of people who were, a lot of the bloggers were freaking out about that pick.
No Kalen Addison. There was other picks that they were they could have taken.
There were a few others that I found a lot more alarming than Sandin.
Yeah, we'll get to Zadina a little later in the show too.
None of the big beat reporters who follow the team really seem to pay it any mind.
Well, it was interesting that...
Isn't it weird that the Leafs drafted a defenseman in the first round and people were disappointed by it?
It's weird. Well, and I think we're starting to get a better perspective on the draft in general, which is these guys are 3 or 4 years away. Sandin might be 2, and that's pushing it.
That is.
I think it's more like 3.
Yeah.
At this point, those guys are assets that you are developing and that you may use as trades. They may play for the team. You don't know, but you're not drafting players that are going to step in and go, wow, that's amazing. Think Andreas. How much attention did people pay to Andreas Janssen when he was drafted in the 7th round? None. Discover something about him. Bingo.
It's not a good use of energy to
great way of putting it, Jesse.
To obsess over something that's going to just be a roll of a dice.
One thing I will say was very good about the coverage is there was talk of Sandin. Dursey didn't get a whole lot, but it was about the whole, he's a hardcore Leaf fan. Mm-hmm. Got passed over last year.
Re-entered the draft.
Really cool.
But yeah, it's a cool story. Yeah. So they focused on that, at least in terms of coverage. And SDA, should I even attempt?
No.
Semyon Argachintsev, I think.
SDA looks cool. His youngest guy in the draft.
And people, youngest guy in the draft. Actually, if you look at this number, that number, it could be a really interesting pick. It's a swing for the fences pick. Name who they picked fourth.
Was it the goalie? No, that was sixth.
That was later, yeah.
I want to say...
And didn't they trade their 6th this round this year for Buffalo, or Buffalo traded their 6th round this year for Toronto's next year?
Yeah, they just swapped sixes
for
no reason.
Why?
I don't know.
I guess somebody wanted somebody right now who they wanted.
It was just
No, but why did... I saw someone tweet this to me. Why did Buffalo agree to that? Buffalo finished last. Their 6th is as good as the 6th can be. Why did you do that?
Because maybe
You have Rasmus Dahlin and you don't care. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I
Like the Leafs, I know this because of the trade trees. This was somehow involved with one of them. The Leafs and Oilers just straight up swapped. It was either 7ths or 6ths. And the Oilers finished last. So the Leafs got the better pick. And they ended up, I think it was like Dave Brohl, but hey, he did play in the NHL, and the Oilers got nobody. So why would you?
But
I don't
Steve,
understand why you would give up.
remember.
I don't care what round it is. Why would you give up the? Is this a bad use of energy, Jesse?
no, I like this conversation.
Why would you clearly give up? The
Jesse
better pick?
approves, by the way. Jesse approves. Well, here's the thing.
Hey, okay, so I'm the Leafs. I call you Buffalo. I go, hey, would you like to move down?
Hold on, I gotta pick up the phone.
Yeah.
No, but I'm trying
Bots
to.
Daddy, what's up?
I've told you so many times not to call yourself that. Listen.
Oh, it's Dube City.
Yeah, yes, Jason. Listen. Hey, got a doozy of a deal for you.
The Bots man is listening.
You move down like 20, 25 spots next year in exchange for I don't tell people that's what you call yourself. Sound good?
Well, I've considered your deal, and I bots want to do this. Right? Am I right? Come on. Honestly, though, I feel like Buffalo doesn't think they're going to be as bad next year as they were this year.
Okay, but you're probably not going to beat the Leafs.
But hold on, let me go back to what Justin Bourne said years ago when he was on the show, which is past between 20 and 40 on the. What's the big friggin' difference?
No, but why don't they get something
Yeah,
then? It doesn't.
That should be like a 6th and a 7th or something.
Yeah.
The Leafs moved up for what? What was the compensation? Was it not
Bots
their
Daddy's
sixth?
feeling good.
I'm trying to hold. Give me one second.
Because if it was someone else's 6, you can maybe justify it, but I don't understand that. Why did you do the Leafs a solid?
Yeah, why? I don't understand why they just traded it.
Is that so? That is what it was? Because I missed that.
In round 6, Buffalo would have picked first.
Yeah.
So that's the best possible
The best.
6th round pick you could ever get. And then the Leafs.
And the Leafs were way down. Vegas ended up getting it somehow. I think that was in the Pickard deal. It was the 5th last pick.
And then so next season, the Buffalo gets the Leafs 6th round pick.
Why?
But did somebody owe somebody a favor?
For what?
I don't know. I think this is a good use of energy. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, Rasmus Brisson was a dick at the end of the season. Like, what's that wrong with you?
Yeah.
Bots Daddy was feeling good.
Because
Hey, it's Bots Daddy.
there's no way that the upcoming 2019 6th round pick is better than the best 6th round pick.
Shanny, I know it's late in the draft, but I can smell it from here. Jason Botterill is baked. I can call him up and make a crazy 6th round pick deal. No, I just didn't understand. But anyway, my point was, after the first 3 guys, I can barely name them. I think Riley Stotts. And then after that, I'm not sure. I don't know if I can name any of them. The Russian guy in the 7th. They did get a goalie in the.
Hold on.
Chikuni.
Let me have some fun with this. Okay.
Well,
So who was the first pick?
Rasmus Dahlin.
No, for the Leafs.
Oh, Rasmus Sandy.
You guys are on the same team on this one, by the way.
Okay.
What are we doing?
We're going through the draft.
Okay.
See if you can name them all. 2nd round pick.
Sean Dursey.
Jesse, do you agree? Is it Sean Dursey?
Yes.
3rd round.
Simeon Dur.
It's SDA.
SDA.
Yeah, and then I can't name any more.
And the other guy in the 3rd round?
Oh, was Riley Stotts in the 3rd round?
That's right. Wow, good
Okay,
for you.
yeah.
Okay, number 4.
Yeah, now I'm lost.
No, I'm out after SDA.
Something. What's
Got it.
I don't
Wow.
know his first-
Mac, which is a great name. The Mac truck. Apparently he's not that big, but number 5.
This isn't the goalie.
6 is the goalie.
Yeah,
I know that.
The goalie 5.
This 5 is a defenseman. Canadian.
WHL, I
A
think.
Canadian.
Oh,
I don't know his name though.
for crying out! No, wait, no. Riley Stotts is, I think, WHL.
Oh shit.
I don't know.
What do babies do when they're learning how to walk? They
Philip Crawl.
there you go. Now,
Son of a gun. People really like that pick, I saw.
and that's cool. Like, I mean, it's great, but who knows? That's
It'd be
awesome.
great, yeah.
No, you were wrong about round 6. It was not the goalie.
Was it?
No, this is the guy they traded with Buffalo to get, and he's got the same name as the guy with Aberg as his last name.
Pontus Holmberg.
What a name, Pontus. Love it. Pontus Holmberg. Now, Pontus Holmberg is a left shot defenseman from Sweden, Västerås, and he played with the Lakers last year, or he's going to play with the Lakers this year.
The Los Angeles Lakers?
Växjö, which is where I believe Borgman and Rosen came from.
And Lonzo Ball.
And then you've got
Borgman brand.
what's the goalie's name?
Boutillier.
Zachary Boutillier.
Yeah.
And then who was the last pick in the NHL draft for the Toronto Maple Leafs at 211?
Something Kazimov.
You're absolutely right. Wow. Hey, Steve Dangle, everybody. Simeon Kazimov.
That's right. They had 2 Simeons. They cornered the market on the same Marie players and Simeons.
But they got Erasmus as well. They got the best Rasmus, you might say.
Underrated part of the draft is when the Leafs drafted SDA. I mean, a lot of people didn't watch the second day of the draft. It's a little dry.
And it's also like a Saturday, and people have to do things like walk their dog and
I don't remember
grocery shop.
I don't remember who it was on the Leafs who made the pick. I didn't recognize his face, but he goes from Peterborough, Semin, and then he just destroyed the last name. But you see Dubas' mouth to Shanahan. He goes, Semin. Semin. What is Semin? Go back and if you can find the video.
Really?
Shanahan are goofing on whoever
Oh, wow.
announced the pick.
That's amazing.
He said Semin. It's not Semin. Anyway, just second day draft thing.
We're talking about when Steve gets deep in the internet.
Yeah.
Talking about bad contracts last show that the Leafs could take on because they have a lot of cap room, right? Even if you get Tavares at 15.9, you're still probably looking at with Nylander coming in, you probably have $5 or $6 million you can spend there at least. And one of the things that has come out of Winnipeg is that they're trying to keep Paul Stastny badly. They really want him to stay.
He looked great.
The problem is they don't have the room, and I believe Trouba's up. And they're paying Steve Mason $4 million this year. Is that a team where you go, hey, do you have any guys that are just bubbling under the surface that we could take from you on defense?
Barry Mason and the Miners.
Sure.
I don't
if you're the Leafs, though, if you can get a guy who's 6 months away, if he's Travis Dermott of last year.
Oh, Siku is one of their prospects everyone really likes. Winnipeg is another team.
Drafts so well.
They've
unbelievable.
Very well. They have too many good players. So if they wanted to make that happen, they could.
And you can keep Stastny away from Montreal.
Leafs could look at it, but that's rough.
Is it rough for a season? Mason's is just
I'm just talking about all the Leafs cap space, and I'd rather see it used on good players, and I just keep picturing John Tavares.
What if it gets you a good player beyond John Tavares?
Yeah.
Maybe you get John and somebody who can help balance out the defense, because that's really the problem here. It's balance on that defensive end.
Like people talking about the Leafs somehow getting Spezza out of Dallas. Like I'm trying to think of the guys from Dallas I would really want. I mean, the team that made it to the Calder Cup final was basically.
Well, what if Steve Mason has a bounce back year and you trade him at the trade deadline? I mean, you want to give Garrett Sparks that opportunity too, right?
Yeah, how does he have the bounce back here in Toronto?
You're right. You're right.
This is not the landing spot for Steve.
Yeah, no.
Unless they got all kinds of play. Like, I have no idea what Dubas wants.
Or do you get Steve Mason and then call the Islanders and go, he's yours?
Because that's what they need.
Well, they need goalies. They need somebody who's played it in an NHL game.
But not just anybody.
Carter Hutton. That's what they need. Seven-year deal for Carter Hutton.
It's interesting because everyone was saying Philip Grubauer. And then he goes to the Avalanche.
Which is interesting.
It is interesting. And then there's talk of the Avalanche want to bring Bernier back.
So where's Varlamov going?
He could go to the island.
Mm-hmm.
Or there was talk of they basically expected Bernier to get injured which is why they kind of loaded up
Yeah.
or something.
I don't know.
Very confusing. No, the Islanders, they got to solve that, and I don't think Mason is the answer. The Leafs have options.
So, moving on, though, Dougie Hamilton.
Oh,
That trade is a head-scratcher, is it not?
Listen, I think the trade makes some sense for both teams.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's no doubt.
You could, if you said nothing afterward, you could totally justify it. It's everything that has come out since.
Could you, though? Here's the thing. Does Noah Hannafin project to be as good as Dougie Hamilton?
Yes.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
If he achieves his ceiling, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough.
But
and you are going to lose
people who are doubtful of that.
They were going to lose Adam Fox. Adam Fox was not going to sign in Calgary. That was a thing.
Yeah.
So no, and then Lindholm and Hannafin coming the other way, and there was some other guy in the deal.
Furland.
Yeah, Michael Furland, which
had a way better season than I knew.
And
21 goals.
They did not want to trade him. So I found it interesting that Carolina was able to get Hamilton, Furland, and Fox. I would have thought Calgary would have been like, okay, Hamilton and Fox, and then we'll take Hannafin and Lindholm. Because Lindholm apparently is asking for a lot of money and isn't better than good.
It's just weird to me that Dougie Hamilton is the one getting the grief out of all of this. Meanwhile, contract talks went really badly with Lindholm.
Mm-hmm. And then you've traded to get those contract talks. Now you're stuck.
5th overall picks as a result. Because Lindholm was a 5th overall pick.
So was Fox.
Hannafin.
Oh, Hannafin. Oh.
I don't remember where Fox was picked. But he's a good prospect.
But that's the thing. Like, what I don't understand here is
Wait, sorry, he was the other way.
So you have Lindholm, who's underperforming for 5th overall pick, would you say? Hannafin, who's been pretty good. And then you got Dougie Hamilton, who is probably one of the best defensemen in the league.
By the numbers. It depends who you ask.
If
people don't like him. Like people
That's just straight up what it is, right?
Yeah, no, they don't like him.
Yeah, but if there's a there there, there's a there, right?
Yeah.
If it's his third team and he's a really good player and people keep wanting to get rid of him, and when he leaves, his general manager kicks him in the ass on the way out saying, we want people who want to be in Calgary on our team, there's a there. So
it's interesting because like we've been doing the show long enough that like we have a track record of like sticking up for guys who years later we were like, no, he might be a dick. Cody Franzen, for the longest time, we're like, why isn't anyone giving him a chance? And then after a while, he got kicked off enough teams. I was like, maybe he's a jerk.
Yeah. Maybe he's just an asshole.
Maybe he's just,
P.A. Parento?
I found his snide remarks in the media to be charming and funny. But I'm sure they were very taxing on the teams that paid him lots of money.
The weird thing about Dougie Hamilton is that there have been a couple conversations in the media about him because people are saying, okay, well, if he's not a team guy or something, what context is that? What do you mean? What are you talking about? So when John Shannon was quoted a lot, and it was a very shared tweet this weekend, and John didn't tweet this, but somebody else quote tweeted him at the draft as saying he was a guy that when the team went to Moxie's for a team dinner, he'd go to a museum.
Yeah.
Which is a bad look.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if it's a team dinner, you should be at the team dinner.
If you're at any office and everybody in the office is like, hey, we're going out for beers, and continually you're like, no, I'm just gonna go sit at home and watch Netflix. Like, then your coworkers are gonna be like, hey, just come out with us once.
But is that a reason to trade him?
But that's one anecdotal story from John Shannon.
I don't think that can be it, though, right? You know what I mean?
It's probably the surface of what we're hearing because John Shannon's not in the locker room. How deep does he actually know? But if he's heard this anecdotal story, it leads me to believe that there's more there.
I would agree.
And then just to add to the narrative, Dougie Hamilton found out he was traded. He said he had just come home from a workout and flipped on the TV to watch the draft when he saw there was breaking news. I saw my name there. It was weird. That was from Zeisberg, retweeted over the weekend. So he even found out from the team, from the television, that he was traded.
So
there's something rocky there.
Well, for sure, there was a rocky relationship between the Flames and with him. And now I've read a couple things.
Find the Joe Haggerty tweet. Is that what you were going to say?
No, I wasn't going to go to that. If you can find that, that's great.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Sorry.
Here's what I've heard. Here's what Elliot Friedman had to say. He said, the move out of Massachusetts definitely was a personality clash. This is about Dougie Hamilton, with differing opinions on who was right and who was wrong. After making a few calls, this is not about who's attending the other team's slumber parties. I believe that would be in reference to some of the stuff
Is
we
that
heard.
what Freeman said?
Yeah. He said, this is about...
No. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of something else that we read earlier. My bad. Sorry.
This is about role. Hamilton did not formally request a trade, but there is confirmation there were discussions about his spot in the lineup. The issue is also about his brother Freddie. When he was traded, Dougie was openly upset, and that bothered the Flames. There was an agreement. A move would be better for both sides. The Flames. So this is about the role part, and then we're gonna get to the Freddie Hamilton stuff because I think that's interesting too. The Flames wanted to reunite TJ Brodie and Mark Giordano, which will happen. They felt Travis Hamonic would benefit from playing with a steadier partner. Travis Hamonic did have a bad year, as opposed to Brodie, who's a bit more of a jazz musician freelancer.
Made a trade to make sure the trade that you already made worked.
So that would make Hamilton not be on the top pair, which didn't thrill him. He also didn't start last season on the top power play, eventually replacing Brodie midway through the season. And Calgary had a bad year. There was another bone of contention as well. That was another bone of contention. This was necessary for both player and team. Hamilton would benefit from Carolina. He hears everything. There's less noise there.
What's something we always keep bringing up about Edmonton?
It's in.
Smart.
We should be
Draisaitl
calling.
and McDavid.
Oh, yeah.
Put them together, damn it. But they don't want to listen to their coach and play together,
Which is the crazy.
which is ridiculous. And here's a player who doesn't want to listen to his coach, and Calgary made the decision to not put up with that shit and get him out of there.
Like, what would we rather have? Would we rather have McClellan, who seems to let these guys walk all over him? Or would we rather have Babcock, who is like, Matthews and Marner will play together over my dead body?
I'll take
I'll
Babcock.
take Babcock.
Yeah.
All day.
I at least, rightly or wrongly, I want a coach who's in charge of the team he coaches.
So here's
Dubas puts together the
why I don't.
roster, Babcock throws him on the ice.
I don't think it's entirely fair to Dougie Hamilton that the way he's been painted. And I think the media were on him big time, with particular attention paid to Mr. Eric Francis, who we've quoted on this show a few times regarding the Calgary Arena situation.
Yep.
Eric's writing, whether he intends it or not, seems to be team friendly.
Team friendly is
that fair?
It is fair.
I don't want to be unfair to Eric. He's a co-worker here.
Say the reason. Look, Eric Francis, I've reached out to him to be on this podcast, and he has agreed to do it, and he said set up a time, and I just haven't done it.
Oh, okay. Well, let's have him on.
I think it'd be worthwhile to have him on.
So especially now. So I want to quote him.
Yes.
I want to quote him. This is from an article from January. The big defenseman made his brother's departure a much bigger deal than it needed to be after Thursday's morning skate by steadfastly refusing to discuss his obvious disappointment over losing his roomie, brother, and teammate. While his sadness is understandable and expected, his decision to respond 4 times to brotherly questions from the media by simply repeating the phrase, "I'm just here to talk about the game," suggests he's not coping well with the split. So because he didn't want to talk about it, now he's not coping well. Now,
I just keep remembering that Bill Belichick, Seattle.
yeah.
But no one cared.
Is he angry?
Oh, that's Bill.
Let me keep going.
Cutie.
Is he angry at the Flames for exposing his brother to waivers with an eye on potentially sending his sibling and his one-way contract to the minors? Is he simply too distraught to discuss the emotions of the situation? Or is the long-standing concern that the 24-year-old Dougie needs his 26-year-old brother to buoy him on and off the ice becoming immediately evident?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Good question for Eric Francis.
Yeah, I hate when they throw out things that are only half things.
Well, behavior like that won't make the story or the situation go away. Now, here's the problem I have. Behavior like what? Being pissed off that your brother was traded?
Yeah. Now, you know what? Let me say this. The Flames made a mistake getting Freddie in the first place. Don't get a player's brother, a star player's brother, to appease him. That was a fringe player from the start. And if his last name wasn't Hamilton, I don't know if he plays in the NHL for you.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
And he does go on to say that. He said,
this isn't Luke and Braden. This isn't Henrik and Daniel. Not that those two are comparable. And this isn't, the Stahl family, which is like the family business,
Or the Sutters.
bringing Jared on board. But like when they brought
Or the
Jared,
VCs.
or the
Yeah.
it's not like when they brought Jared Stahl on board. Like I don't think there was any illusions that like he was going to get a concrete NHL spot out of that. Like when the Flames got Hamilton, I was like, oh, it's to make Dougie happy.
Right.
Like just
Yeah, it did.
you shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Yep. I think it's fair. And I would love to ask Eric what he meant about
can both
that.
be wrong.
I don't have it seems like there's other stuff at play here. Because we could understand a guy going, I'm just here to talk about the game when they ask him about his brother, right? I can understand him not wanting to talk about that. Well, and that's the thing. So my question to Eric would be, and when we have him on the show, I will ask him, what was it about that was such a problem? Why did he have to answer questions about anything else other than the game?
And
that would just be my question. I don't know. There's probably something else.
I think it's compounded by the fact that he was traded again, right? So he was traded out of Boston, and we just kind of brushed it off like, well, this is just kind of what the Bruins do. You know, they traded
Seguin.
Kessel, the young Tyler Seguin, then a young Dougie Hamilton. It became a pattern, so we chalked it up to them and not Dougie. Now that it's a second time for Dougie, it's a bit of a pattern. I got 4 tweets to read because I want to get to the fourth. I
Please.
feel like I should provide the context. The first is from Justin Bourne. The amount of articles on the Hamilton trade that dip their toe in the people don't like Dougie Hamilton pool are nearly infinite. But nobody either knows anything concrete or they just don't have the balls to address it explicitly, ? Stephen Wino then says, only thing I took out of it / wrote are these lines from Brad Treliving. We also want guys who want to be in Calgary. That's one quote. Second quote. Part of what we look at this is making sure we have good chemistry and a good mix in our dressing room. After last year, we wanted to make sure we're addressing. Justin Bourne. Right, they're smart not to say nobody likes him or whatever, but to me, those comments warrant a ton of follow-ups. A great player has been dealt twice before his 26th birthday. I'm dying to know what it is he does that makes him so undesirable. Now, Joe Haggerty, from a Bruins perspective, and this is why I read those previous 3 tweets. I know one of the final straws with the Bruins was a team trip to Vegas after season ended where every player on the team went, except for Dougie and Riley Smith. And they were both gone that offseason. I wouldn't say he was a bad kid at all, just a combination of too sensitive and too self-focused. You didn't want to go to Vegas.
No, go on the trip with your team.
No, you don't have to go to Vegas. That's
Those are
silly.
2 amazing players, too, by the way. Riley Smith is another guy who's kind of been pinged around. Why doesn't anybody like Riley Smith?
I don't think
It's interesting that, like, Jesse brings up an absolutely valid point because everyone's going, what? He likes going to the museum. What's wrong with it? No, listen. If you said, hey, I got a party or whatever, and you told him like a couple weeks, a month ahead of time,
or it's
and
a
your
team,
friend
or
is
it's a
like-
team-sanctioned event. It's not a party. It's a team-sanctioned event.
well, team sanctioned like the team.
They're going for dinner.
Or the
Yeah,
players of
they're
the
going
team.
for dinner. They're going
knows?
to doing a team trip to Vegas.
You're doing a thing.
It's
right?
a little weird.
If someone goes, well, I'm going to go watch Solo instead. Like,
Are you taking shots at me now? You taking shots at me because I'm a Star Wars fan? No, I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke, Steve. It's a joke.
Dougie Hamilton versus Chris Cannon. Let's talk about it. No. Now, if he does it once, maybe you look at him sideways and you go, "Oh, okay, he just doesn't feel like it." But what if this is a thing he does all the time?
Yeah.
But also, if it is a thing he does all the time, I'm not sure you should give that much of a shit. Do you got to talk to all your coworkers?
I mean, I don't know.
Like, hockey's got this whole brotherhood, chest hair thing about it. But, like, Dougie Hamilton's really good, man. Like, is he that, like, grating on you?
Well, that's the part I don't understand.
Could he possibly be, like, this is one of those things, and I'm not criticizing this person. This is just a theory that I'm literally pulling out of my ass, but whatever. Like, Mark Giordano is talked about as such a great leader, like one of the better leaders in the NHL. Like, isn't this the sort of thing a captain is supposed to manage when teammates don't like a really good player for petty reasons like this? Like, it's one thing if he's an asshole. and repeatedly does like bad things, he's ripping off teammates or he's intimidating them or whatever, throwing their tracksuit in the shower, whatever it is, like, isn't that
I mean,
the leadership is supposed to sort out?
Sort of, yeah.
We also don't know.
Yeah,
No, we don't know. They might have tried, right?
Well, and because they're tiptoeing around it, there's all these theories, and then when there's all these theories, people go, people are making up all kinds of theories. Yeah, because you didn't tell us the thing.
No, but I think it's unreasonable for them to expect you to tell them to tell us.
So what are you saying then?
I'm saying we don't know.
Yeah. No, sorry, not what are you saying? Like,
Yeah.
What are you saying, Jesse?
What are you specifically? No, what is, basically you're leaving hockey fans who want to know everything. You're just leaving them alone with their imagination.
No, I think,
And of course it's going to run away with them.
yeah, I think they don't have a choice.
Who?
Like anybody who wants to speak ill of any hockey player, they don't have a choice. You're not going to come out and tell stories about, hey, this guy's actually an asshole because he treats his teammates like shit. Like, I don't think you come out and say that, and then you look like the jerk who's going to be banished from a locker room because you.
The jerk now.
I think everybody's nobody kind of knows anything, so everybody's kind of going to come out clean in the public eye.
It's weird because you're right. You don't want to be alienated from a locker room, which could happen. But, like, do you want to be alienated from your readers, your listeners? Like, that's your bread and butter. If you're locked out of a locker room, you'll survive. You'll find ways. That's what blogs are. You'll find a way. But if people stop listening to what you have to say because they're sick of it, you die. You have no more identity in the business.
Oh, you're talking from like a media perspective.
That's what this is. So
No, because it's the team talking.
Well, there's multiple.
It's Brad Treliving,
Brad Treliving.
What about him?
the GM.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the one coming out and saying these things.
Oh, wait, he did say, he said we want people who want to be in Calgary.
That's
But I
what I'm
thought that
saying.
was in reference to
Sorry,
Adam Fox.
I think we're getting confused.
Yeah.
Like Eric Francis.
No, that was in reference to Dougie Hamilton.
Was it? Because
Yes.
I'd heard it was Adam Fox, because Adam Fox didn't want to sign there and he was going to re-enter the draft or be a free agent. He was going to be like an NCAA free agent.
We're all
No, that was a quote in the threads.
It was.
In relation to
Okay. Well, I mean, it might be both, honestly. But it sounds like, long story short, guys, the fact is, they hinted all this shit, and then they expect us to understand. And that's the problem, is that you can't understand what you've never seen.
I'm not talking about the team.
And I don't
hinting.
blame
I'm talking
them
about
for hinting.
reporters. I'm talking about reporters hinting at the stuff. Like you're given a half story.
I'm asking Eric straight up when he comes on the show.
yeah, I don't.
I'm asking.
Yeah,
straight up.
reporters.
That's Dougie's problem.
I was speaking about the team and players. The reporters are a whole different thing. A reporter has some secret and they don't want to come out with it. Then come out with
We
your
were talking about two different things.
Yeah, I'm talking about the things you read.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Anyways.
apparently, Mark Bergevin almost hit it out of the park at the draft, barring the Voinov stuff for a second. If things, according to Eric Engels, if things had gone to plan, Bergevin would have walked away from the draft floor, having replenished the Montreal Canadiens cupboard, having resolved Max Pacioretty, and having acquired Ryan O'Reilly, but it didn't end up that way. And basically what happened was, and this is the best part, the Islanders and the Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens had a three-way trade worked out. And had the two players the Islanders picked not fall into those positions, it would have happened. And
They did great. They had one of the
They did.
one of the better drafts of any team. Detroit did very well.
yeah, so it's interesting that Montreal went through that. Question I have, though, and this is a question for Ottawa as well. Why did they both pass on Zadina?
I'm not as down on the Ottawa pick as a lot of Sens fans are, for dumb reasons, and I sort of talked about this in my draft recap video. Like, Brady Tkachuk seems like he's got all the confidence in the world. Like, he's got that kind of personality that I think could take over a dressing room. And what could Ottawa use more right now? Like, they could use a guy who's, like, happy about life.
And score
Confident
and fill their nets with.
playoff.
He told, apparently he went right up to their management team when they were interviewing him and said, If you pass on me, I'm going to fill your nets with pucks.
No, that was Zadina.
That's what I mean. Sorry. Sorry, my bad.
Well, so he said that, I want to say it was about Montreal, and then Montreal and Ottawa passed on him, and then afterwards he's like, I'm going to fill both their nets.
I love that. I love that. They're in the same division as Detroit.
The Atlantic Division got better.
Oh, for sure it did. Sometime, and this is according to Elliot Friedman, around round 2, Montreal went to Max Pacioretty with a trade offer from the Kings. An extension was included. It was time sensitive because 2018 draft picks were included. Pacioretty said no and switched agents to Alan Walsh. That's when it happened, in the second round.
Mid-draft, he switched agents?
It happened this weekend, but I guess that was the Brisson thing where because the hints that I've heard is that Pat Brisson is so neck deep in the John Tavares stuff right now that dealing with Max Pacioretty, who has another year yet left, it's like, dude, I got to go with the biggest fire right now. And so I guess they had an extension ready to go. He didn't like it, and he said, no, and I'm gonna leave you too.
Pat Brisson must be doing well.
I think he's doing okay.
I'm too busy to get 3% of Pacioretty's new contract. He's not worried.
I do believe the LA Kings, I do believe Max Pacioretty would like to play for the LA Kings, but would also like to make up whatever he left on the table with the Canadians. LA can't fit that. Pacioretty is upset that the Canadians, Pacioretty is upset and the Canadians are upset. So word is they may keep him now. And that's going to be awkward going forward. Mark Bergevin will revisit this, maybe depending on who misses their target on July 1st. Interesting, because Max Pacioretty did give them a hometown discount, and this is why you don't give a hometown discount. These teams are not loyal. And these players are loyal to these teams that are not loyal. Yeah. Max Pacioretty, if you are an NHL player and you're listening to this, and I doubt very highly that there's many, but listen to me when I tell you, the business is not loyal to you. If you choose to be loyal...
Nylander, do not listen to this.
I mean, Wally, I think William Nylander's smart enough to know that.
That's ready, hello.
It's a contract.
Yeah.
It's not a person. You can be loyal to people. We can talk about... I just had my last day on the job today. I am loyal...
We haven't even talked about...
I am loyal to people in this building. Absolutely. But the people in this building are different than a corporation. Right. And that's not to begrudge Rogers anything. I think Rogers is a great company to work for. And I have nothing bad to say. But the point is, Rogers has to do what's best for Rogers. Just like the LA Kings and the Montreal Canadiens have to do what's best for them. Pacioretty, when he had the opportunity the first time, did not do what was best for Pacioretty. He was convinced to do what was best for the Montreal Canadiens, and now he's pissed, and now he wants that big fat extension. I don't blame him. But the point is, don't put yourself in that position.
As a player.
As a player.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I mean, you take a discount if you want the team around you to be better, and that's what Crosby did. But, man...
Crosby took a...
Pacioretty left a lot of money on the...
Crosby took a contract where he still made almost $9 million a year. Big difference from 4.5.
Discount, though. Pacioretty open market. 7?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Probably, but I mean, surely he gets at least what Kane got.
Well, what JVR is going to get is what, 6.5?
That's so interesting.
Because Patches is a perennial 30-goal scorer and does other things.
What if JVR has to wait a while?
I don't think he will.
He's such a
I think LA
player.
LA got Kovalchuk. They want to add more scoring. To me, JVR made a lot of sense there. He made a lot of sense in San Jose as well.
In LA?
Without Kovalchuk's contract.
Oh, I was about to say, dude, are we just dropping all the pretense? There's no salary cap anymore. We're ignoring it.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas apparently is going to let every single one of their UFAs walk to free agency.
No.
Yeah, that's the report today. And Elliot Friedman even said that in 31 Thoughts. He's like, I would not be surprised if they all just went into free agency. That's Perron, that's Neal. That gives them huge money to play with. Huge. And even with the Thomas Tatar deal, which didn't end up working out well. You want to go get more scoring. JVR is a pretty good guy. He'd work well.
Make it work with Tatar.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll
be fine.
I'm clinging to, that couldn't have been as stupid as it looks.
No.
Maybe.
I don't think so either. But anyway, regardless of that, I think the point here is that I don't think JVR is waiting.
No,
I think the money's there.
I don't know if anyone of note is going to wait. I hope they don't.
It's a pretty thin class, man.
As soon as I saw Ilya Kovalchuk was preparing for an NHL comeback, I just puckered. I was like, no, please, God, no.
Listen,
because that New Jersey saga was so taxing. Was that our first summer as a podcast?
The
I think
Kovalchuk?
it was the year after.
Kovalchuk?
The Kovalchuk, New Jersey illegal contract, fine, whatever ridiculous contract.
I don't actually remember.
It lasted all damn summer. Please, no. If you're a free agent of note, sign in the first 2 days or GTFO.
Leave it to Kovalchuk to make it awkward. To make it weird. He just was always... He could never be simple with him, you know?
I still... parents listening in the car, prepare. Anyone remember Ottawa Ghost?
Yeah.
Ottawa. All right, Ilya, I'll just cut to the chase. Are you fucking nuts?
That's crazy.
Still one of my favorite hockey videos.
A team thinking of trading for Mike Hoffman tracked down one of his fiance's college roommates to find out as much as they could.
What? Where did you hear that?
Point 22 on Elliot Friedman's 31 Thoughts, which was all bangers this week. Isn't that crazy? I mean, wouldn't you? A lot of money at stake. A lot of money at stake.
Yeah, it's funny. You go, how could you? And then you explain it that way. I go, oh, that's how.
Yeah,
that's exactly how.
There's
so much money.
If my $5 to $8 million plus prospects are on the line, yeah, I'm walking down every road to find out. Alex Burrows was put on unconditional waivers today. He will be bought out.
Yeah, I saw people being mean to the Sens.
Like Greg Wyshynski tweeting, obviously today we're elated. The best for me is that 5 key veterans in our locker room came up to me. One wanted to hug me. The others wanted to shake my hand. Pierre Dorian, February 2017, after trading for Alex Burrows.
And that was not a long time ago.
But we knew, that was one of those deals that you knew at the time was going to be bad eventually.
Yes. Now, I will say this. That's now. And the Sens are broken. I think they're in a position that they didn't quite expect to be in, so that's their fault.
That is understating it, sir.
Oh, yeah. But Alex Burrows, when he was traded to the Sens, played 20 games, 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points.
That's not bad.
In 15 playoff games, he only had 5 assists, so that kind of sucked. And last year was bad for him, and it was for every other Sen. And whoever gets him, because I don't think he's done, is going to get a pissed off Alex Burrows, which could actually work for them. But at the time, Burrows was a contributor, a decent contributor, like a good depth deadline pickup for a team that ended up going 3 rounds deep. So, I don't know, even with the buyout, I don't know if Ottawa really regrets that. The one thing they will regret is how much they gave up. So I'm not against the fact that they got Alex Burrows, but what was it, Jonathan Dahlen and a second or something like that? Oh my God!
It was a lot.
That's a lot. Mm-hmm. That's a scary price. So, yeah, the trade is going to look like shit the more time goes on. But just remember, at the time, they went for it, and they almost did the damn thing.
Steven.
Yes.
I've handed you Ottawa Senators cap friendly. Out of all of their forwards, can you name 2 that would play in the top 6 in Toronto?
Bobby Ryan. It depends which version of him shows up. Matt Duchene.
Oh, Matt Duchene, yes.
Matt Duchene. Kaepernick, no. MacArthur, no. Bodker, no. Yep, no. No one else. Oh, Mark Stone. Mark Stone, is not a lot, man. Not a lot. That team's hurting. Then you got Carlson and a world of hurt on the holy macaroni. Their highest paid defenseman after Carlson makes how much money out of him?
Oh, it's got to be what? Cody Ceci?
Nope.
No, he doesn't have a contract.
Oh, he doesn't have a contract.
RFA. So I guess it will be him. Highest paid if Carlson's gone.
Oh, God. I don't even know. Johnny Oduya.
Mark Borowicki.
Oh, wow. 800,000?
1.2.
Oh.
Then they got Chris Weidman making 1. Who
They just re-signed.
That's a good deal.
Somebody wanted to resign there. Yay.
Christian Wolanin.
What's the date today?
It is the 26th.
On June 26, 2018, Adam Mild, how many games do you think the Ottawa Senators will win by the time it is June 26th, 2019. In the regular season of next year's NHL.
25.
Steven?
34.
That'd be impressive.
That'd be a good year. Yeah.
Throwing a couple overtime losses?
You can win 34 games and finish dead ass last.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
like still like bottom 5.
Do you think
10.
the Senators finish outside of the bottom 5?
I don't think so.
It's so hard because you have no idea what they're going to look like. If they lose Carlson, yes. But they want...
I said outside of the bottom 5.
Oh, outside. Oh, so above. Sorry.
Yes, so no.
Yeah, no.
They have
feel
to trade
bad.
Carlson. They have to. They have to trade him.
Well, and the one thing that is gaining noise, I saw Tyler Dello and Jonathan Willis talking about this. Well, if you're Mark Stone, get out!
But that's not up to Mark Stone.
He's
an RFA.
Someone's going to go to him. Surely. Okay, so can RFAs talk to other teams in this period, just like you?
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, they have to be able to accept the offer, right? If they get offered
From
something.
other teams?
RFAs?
Yeah, no, but if they just qualify him, then it's like, hey.
Well, no, but if he's qualified, it doesn't mean that other teams can't talk to him.
Yeah, then there's a certain date anyway that teams can just straight up give him an offer sheet. I forget what date that is.
Well, it's definitely the first, for sure.
I feel like it's the 15th or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But like, just, dude, offer sheet for Mark.
Why wouldn't it be the
Sens
same day?
can't
That's so
do anything.
stupid. Oh,
The
that's
Sens cannot do
They
anything.
can match it.
No, they can't.
Why not?
It's going to put them in financial peril to match it.
How much are you going to offer sheet Mark Stone?
Jonathan Willis came up with it was a front-loaded deal. Like he gets $11 million in the first year, but the actual cap hit is 6 something. And I believe what they would have.
$6 million is like 3 first-round draft picks.
It's 2 first, a second, and a third.
Nobody's offering that for Mark Stone.
Oh, dude.
Contender?
Dude,
I will
Chicago.
bet you everything I own in my entire life that nobody offers sheets anybody $6 million.
First off, that's not fair because you don't own anything.
Because
you are an ultimate minimalist, and we moved you in an afternoon, and that's not fair.
It's the NHL, and nobody ever will do anything like
I
that.
claim his PS4. I already have one, but I'm claiming it anyway.
You know, no, people have already stolen Pierre Dorian's lunch money. I think they do it again.
I don't think anybody offers sheets at all.
Please do it.
You think,
mean,
why
why not?
another GM's going to be like, "Hey, I'm going to kick you while you're down." And,
Yeah.
And I'm going to get kicked out of this
Yeah.
awesome old boys club? No.
I actually would think it would be kind of sick if they miss out on Tavares. Mark Stone looks good in the Leafs jersey.
And I'm just saying. I am just saying.
It'd be kind of fun.
Or you go, hey, listen. So, this guy's gonna maybe try to offer sheet you. This guy's gonna maybe try to offer sheet you. Mm-hmm. Let's figure this out. How do we make it so that does not come to pass? Mm-hmm. Everyone in the league should be calling Pierre Dorian right now.
Well, Mark Stone, he had 62 points last year on a terrible team. If you get Mark Stone and you can get 70 points out of Mark Stone, he's worth the money. He's definitely, if you get a first round pick that ever gets to 70 points, you're laughing.
He had as good of a season as any player could possibly have on a team that bad.
And if you're the Leafs, just say, of course, because of course we go to the Leafs on this one. That on the right wing gives you what? Nylander? What is it? Who plays right wing for the Leafs? Nylander, Brown,
Nylander, Marner, Brown,
Kapanen. Jesus. Like, that's insane.
Bully.
Or you could take Nylander and put him at center on the third line, and Mark Stone's your third line right winger with Nylander. And whoever the hell cares on the left side. Doesn't
imagination.
like that, and they still have room at that point at $7 million to take on
the Leafs, but it doesn't have to be about the Leafs.
No, it can be about anybody. But you still have that room at that point to go out and get whatever you need to get at center and a D.
Is Peter Chiarelli crazy enough to do that? Give up his firsts? In
Yo.
hopes of not sucking anymore? Dude, it's Mark Stone. Oh. You'd be real good, my friend.
Mark Stone's 26, dude. He's worth it.
Like, that's a world is your oyster type of player, and the Sens are not in a position to keep world is your oyster type players. You're there to be old Vegas. Like,
Old Vegas.
Without being a cute expansion team. Listen, if Pierre Dorian comes out of this with a decent NHL team, that's incredible.
Mark Stone's worst season with the Ottawa Senators was last year, like the year before, when they went to almost to the Stanley Cup final, and he had 54 points. He, in an NHL season, in a full NHL season, has never scored less than 54 points.
But
He was a Calder winner.
I'll be so shocked if they do nothing.
Oh no, was he second run-up to the Calder?
Keep him.
He's runner-up.
And they just go with Carlson. Like, what?
Was he the runner?
I can't understand why either player would want to stay there. And this whole trading Craig Anderson thing. So I wrote about ways to solve the Sens or fix the Sens. Now that they've drafted Brady Tkachuk and they have to surrender next year's first round pick, why would you trade your starting goalie? That's a horrible idea. Why would you I just had an idea. No, that's a dumb idea. I was going to say, could you maybe somehow get Varlamov from the Avalanche in exchange for Anderson? Anderson goes back to his former team, but I'm thinking maybe don't talk to Joe Sakic anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe that friendship's over a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times were had.
Should we do the press conference?
You said
Dangle
and then
press
you
conference.
He does that.
Can the first question come from me?
Was this the thing you're about to say?
Yes.
What is it?
Listen, man, I'm tired.
First question comes from Steve Dangle.
Adam,
Yo.
it was your last day.
Steve Dangle 69 on Reddit, right?
Why?
Log on.
Actually, the first question comes from Lobster19. Why is Adam actually leaving Kiss and BT?
There you go. I like lobster.
Well, I mean, so if
Emphasis on the actually.
if anybody's missed it, that's what's happening. I'm leaving my other two jobs. Nothing changes here. We're going to continue to do the show because, fun fact, it's our show. We can do it however long we want. And I think the long and short of it is this: I have done this job at a few different stations in a few different cities since I was 19. 11 years already. Yeah, and I started in radio at 18. And
so 12 years now.
12 years, and on the air 19, and I realized at a certain point that I had set these goals for myself at 18, 19, and I hit 30, and it was actually before I hit 30, and I realized I don't know how I want the next 10 to 15 years to go. So that's sort of where I'm at, and I won't get too much into contract stuff, but the way it worked out is that it kind of worked out that this could happen, and I've been lucky. I've been smart with the money that I have made, and I've invested so I can do this. And I think for me, it's sad, but it also was the right decision. It also was the right decision. 5.5 years is a good run in radio. I mean, for sure.
Good run for you, man.
I mean, it's.
But
I don't want to be that guy that bounces around anymore. I think the next thing I want to do for a long time. And I also think, the last 3 years have been, for lack of a better term, completely exhausting. The second that the BT stuff happened, while it was a huge step up for my career, I wasn't home much. And you guys remember, like I was doing, there was days where I went from breakfast television to doing Channel 1, which is a channel here in Toronto. And then if we didn't do the podcast, I would eat lunch and we'd be on the air for 2:00 in the afternoon at that point with the Blake and Wild show. And then it eventually moved to 3. And then we would do the podcast and I wouldn't get home till 10. So I would have left the house at about 4:30 and not get home till 10 p.m.
Yeah, I did BT with you a few times, breakfast television. And like when it was all done, I remember just being like, and you got to work 12 more hours after this?
Yeah, well, I didn't. Thankfully, at that point, I was like, I could go home and eat and nap and that sort of thing. But, there's been a couple things that have fallen by the wayside, namely my health, physical health, not mental health. And I think that I think that I
think you're jacked.
At a certain point, you kind of have to go, all right, what?
I think my friend is jacked. Look at him. Shut up. Look at those back muscles.
Back shins?
My back shins are looking jacked.
No, his back pecs.
Adam's always had great legs.
Thank you, Jesse.
It's never
When
not
he's
been
at
the
the
case.
gym, he's got back pecs full of weights. Sorry.
Oh, no. Stop. Stop it.
No,
Show title.
Steve's doing it here.
Backpack's full of
No,
weights.
that's not even a thing.
Go ahead, Adam. I believe this was your thing.
Anyway, that's what I'm doing. I mean, there was rumors that, so a bunch of people obviously.
I just want to congratulate you on getting Kevin Frankish's job.
On getting
Chum.
Yeah. I was apparently up for Kevin Frankish's job at Breakfast Television. That was never the case. I was apparently up for a job that doesn't exist at my mom's radio station, Chum FM, which also doesn't exist. Chum FM exists. My mom exists. The show she's on exists. But this job that they keep talking about doesn't. And I don't know why people are in such a hurry to retire my mother and retire Roger Ashby, because it's so funny. Like you have and obviously what we do is speculate on other people's careers with the NHL. What we do on the show is that. But when it happens to you, it's weird.
And it's been super funny as your friend watching all this.
Yeah, and it's a small level. Yeah, and you've
no.
Anyway, this has been in the works for a long time. There really isn't much else here to say other than, I'm taking a step back because I need to. I'm fried creatively, and I've talked about that on the show a couple times where I'm feeling sort of run down, and I am. I'm tired. I really am. I'm out of it, and I need to recharge my batteries, and I need to get back to a point where I'm feeling like I'm at my top game and giving the station or wherever outlet I'm at the best of me. Because I don't think, not that I wasn't giving my best, but I don't think it was the best that I'm capable of. Does that make sense?
It does.
And
Jesse's burnt out right now.
Jesse's just he's tired of this shit.
No, I was reading your message because I saw it earlier.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so that's it.
It reminded me of that. I need to read it, so I stopped listening and I started reading.
I want to thank Steve and Jesse because they've been pretty good about this the whole time.
I want to thank myself too. I feel like I deserve some praise. Thank you, Jesse.
I have off camera been talking about this a lot with them.
You're Beyonce.
I've been talking about this for months with you guys, and I've been very appreciative of all the help you've given and that sort of thing, and also kind of keeping it on the download too.
We're gonna be on all the Toronto media blogs now. Adam Wilde.
Oh.
Lies.
All the Toronto media blogs.
There are some.
All of them.
There's like 2 that I can name.
Well,
this might get a tiny post on BlogTO.
Nope.
It will not.
Right next to the top milkshakes.
It will not. It will
And
not.
also farmers markets.
Hey, Adam, have you ever considered that Steve is delusional? Does that ever come up in conversation?
About Steve is not a believer.
Is delusional.
I like diluted Steve because diluted Steve. Because delusional Steve is the Steve that believed that yelling into a camera in his parents' house in his bedroom was a good idea.
Hey.
And look at where it's taken him. I believe in you.
Hey, name one other thing that's worked out for this man.
Well, he married a great woman.
Yeah, but not out of delusion. That's out of, hey, marry me, Steve, because you're an idiot.
And you need me.
Tricked her. It was a pity married. She pity married.
Oh,
Exactly.
I'm sure that's how she would describe it too.
Dogs feed me in the morning.
That's right.
Exactly.
Pity me so bad.
Anyway, thanks for listening to that. It's not, there's not some big salacious rumor. I'm sorry to let everybody down.
Adam is retiring to play Stick of Truth.
Well, I'm excited. Here's the thing.
Are you going to go on vacation?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go places for sure. Like,
Take a vacation.
I am. I'm going to do that. Also, you have to sort of, when you stop working, be careful with the money that you have.
Yeah, but
Drop the subtext of what Jesse's saying. Are you going to take a fucking break?
yeah, just like not even just spend your money. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just go on a vacation for like a day.
When
That sounds like, how's Adam? And I explain it, and there's no soft way of saying it that doesn't make you sound like you're on the verge of death.
Well,
Take a nap.
Adam, do you know what a beach is?
I haven't been to one in a while, but
Yeah, I think you should try it.
no, I think
No, just for like an afternoon.
I went on a
maybe.
honeymoon this year.
That's
You're supposed to.
just take a vacation.
I think no. I think we went to Arizona
Oh, that's right. And you did like
hiking and yoga.
Yeah.
Yogi Blair.
Yeah, it's pretty sick, man.
Or Yogi Ben, I think. I don't remember. Nice guy, but I need a break, and I think I actually am gonna like go away from social media for a while too after this. Like once free agency's done, like July 1st is done, we'll do our show, and then we're taking a couple weeks off. And I feel like, like I respected Third Period Suits last year when he tweeted, he's like, okay,
Yep, bye.
bye, see you in October. And that's what he did. Or she. I don't know if it's a he or she. I really don't know.
I might do 2 weeks. Yeah.
I might actually,
2 weeks in July.
I haven't never deleted.
Shut up, Jesse. Don't give me that smile.
He won't. But I might actually.
I'm gonna try.
I might delete the apps from my phone. Like that's how serious I am.
No, like you're talking about it like it's this huge thing. Like, whoa,
It's sort of a big deal for me.
Whoa, I'm
me,
gonna
it's a
not
big deal.
tweet for a day.
This
Why
is an
just
Eric
not do
Carlson,
it? It
Chris
doesn't have
Tanev
to-
big deal.
Like, you're not having a child. You're
This is Chris
fucking
Tanev big.
It's a stupid entertainment app on your phone that provides
That I
provides
use
you
all the time.
Yeah, so put it down. Like, why does it?
Entertainment, self-hatred.
Yeah, really.
Why does it have to be this huge thing of I'm gonna delete Instagram for a day? Whoa! Just do it.
I'm gonna delete it.
Who cares?
do it.
No one cares.
No one
People
cares.
go their whole lives without having an Instagram account. Just don't have it.
But did they truly live? That's the question.
It's not
Did they truly
important.
live without the booty selfies?
And you got to announce it.
Oh, I am not. I
you
just
guys,
did.
I'm having a hiatus. Don't pay attention to my hiatus. I'm not here.
You were asking me if I was going to take a break.
No real vacation. Oh, I'm gonna delete.
Off of Twitter is an eternity. Like today, I was getting like, "Where's the podcast, asshole? I got a flight." And I'm like, "Man,
For
we're
just
doing
random
the thing."
listeners.
And for anyone right now going, "Oh, was that me, dude?" It could have been like a bunch of you. It could have been like a dozen of you. Hey, where's my thing? And also, why aren't you on Spotify, you elitist prick? Are you too good? Spotify, Dangle? Why aren't we on Spotify?
American,
We can't.
you can't because
it's
we're from
like,
Canada.
They like choose people to be on Spotify. It's not just
You freaking should be on
it's
Spotify.
not just submit your podcast kind of
Amps.
thing. We are
Yeah.
not big enough for Spotify.
We're not?
Big enough for
No, they're like big brands that have
Oh,
it.
like
and,
Rogan break,
like
big.
Rogan,
Oh, okay,
and This
fair
American
enough.
Life,
Fair
and
enough.
Bill Simmons,
hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Yeah.
We are in thousands.
also
Tens of thousands.
Hey, fuck you, Spotify.
We don't need you, bruh. We don't need you.
We're doing fine without you.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what's going on. I am tired, I am burnt out, and I am taking a break. But Steve and Jesse aren't listening to this anyway. So
I think you should announce that you're going on a break.
I already just did. You asked me.
No,
You
announce.
asked.
Make a whole post on social media about how you're taking off
I
social.
am going on a break.
Yeah, all right.
When?
You will not see the hilarity that is my Twitter account. All
yeah.
28,700 of you. That's all I have.
That is
How do you know that?
specific
Well, it's
number.
28.7. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, it's up.
It's right
Okay,
there.
Fair enough. That's up. That's up.
Anyway,
I'm a little
I just
concerned,
don't want to
but-
be arguing about Julius Honka in the middle of the summer. Is my point. I got some months
Sure.
off here, and I'm gonna actually enjoy the time off and hang out with the dogs. Maybe train them a little better. They could use some training. I don't know.
You're totally gonna take a break and not just keep working secretly.
I'm still working here. Still working here. This show's a lot of work.
Yeah, no, totally.
Well, it is, isn't it?
You're gonna take a
We
vacation.
were friends, but apparently we're work.
Yeah, I thought this was just hanging out with my friends and talking into a microphone.
I always show up to hang out with my friends with a bunch of notes. I don't know why this is any different. I don't understand.
I was under the impression that
Do you often sell sponsorships on your friendship hangouts?
I do.
Okay, all right, fine.
This bar bender brought to you by Spotify. Spotify. You can't hang out here.
You're not fucking big enough.
Yeah. Sorry, not Joe Rogan. You can't.
Oh, your name isn't Serial?
That's a better title.
Yeah.
Sorry,
not
What was the other thing you were going with?
Backpacks full of weight.
Yeah, no, not Joe Rogan is better.
No, we don't want that SEO.
I think.
No, we'll talk.
I think
No.
the amount of listeners we'll gain who will discover that this is in fact not Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
One question,
Let's hear it.
because we were in the middle of the press conference apparently.
Yeah.
The one question come from Mark T. Avs on our Reddit page.
Yo, what's up, Mark?
This question got 6 upvotes, was posted a day ago, and he writes, Kyle Dubas, the entire Leafs management staff are abducted by aliens.
Oh.
The Leafs need to hire a new GM.
Oh, no.
And the only candidates available are Peter Chiarelli, Mark Bergevin, and Pierre Dorian. Who do you hire?
Hot diggity damn.
Pierre Dorian.
I think I might go Pierre Dorian.
Really?
Pierre Dorian for sure.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, he's GM of the Sens, would at this point barely counts. Like, they're bad and it's not his fault.
I don't want to blame him for that, for the
No.
Sens.
Well, and they don't have any money, and the Leafs have all of it. Hey, you want to bury a bunch of one-way contracts in the minors? That is no longer an anguishing conversation. They just go, yeah, do it. We don't care. It's not a big deal. Whereas Chiarelli, we have seen him make some of the worst trades we've ever seen in recent memory.
And apparently, when he took over Boston, did he build Boston?
Not really. I'm trying to remember who built that team. I think he was an AGM and then became a GM. So he was there for a bit. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. His recent track record is just no good.
And
Bergevin has already GM'd a team with a lot of money poorly. So I go with Dorian. I go with the mystery box.
At least there's a chance.
At least there's a chance.
I'm with you.
All right, that was the only question. On the 2006-2007 Boston Bruins, we had guys like...
Is that when he took over?
So this would be his first season, so these would be guys he inherited. Bergeron,
Yeah.
Chara.
Young Chara.
Who else was on the Cup winning team? Kessel was there, obviously, and they traded him away. Krejci was on this
A
team.
huge part of that Cup team.
So,
Was Boychuk there?
no. So
Might
we
have
acquired...
been Rask was there.
Rask was already
Although
there.
That was Tim Thomas.
Yeah, it was Tim Thomas's team.
That was also weird.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been good.
So he built quite a bit of
Some.
it. Yeah, there's not like too many guys I remember from the Cup team on
Traded
here.
away Blake Wheeler.
He did trade away. Anyway, so
He
give him a
made
low
bad
credit.
trades and won anyway.
Give him a low credit for Boston, but it's not the greatest.
Not the greatest. Anyway, party time.
Drafted Lucic, I think.
We'll be back Thursday night, I believe. Thursday night? Thursday night. Okay, we'll be back Thursday night. And hopefully John Tavares is a Toronto Maple Leaf and all can be well. Even though he technically will not be a Toronto Maple Leaf until Sunday.
And don't forget, even though we told you Thursday night, as early as possible on Thursday, everyone at the same time,
Please text.
send me that same Judge Judy gif of her going, hey!
That's great. What's your next podcast? That's great, but whatever.
Hey guys, I have a really cool announcement. Shut up! Where's the show? Piece of shit! Entertain me! Dance! Dance, Dangle! But we do appreciate you listening.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.